Jim Maxwell, the best cricket commentator I've ever heard and also one of the best blokes I've ever met. Thank you for chatting to us on In-Zone Rugby League. I'll let you get back to feeding Rusty and hopefully the Rabbitohs for Jen and also your Roosters can get on some winning habits.
Thanks for the friendly chat, Sam, and insane. Yes, lovely to be with you.
He is a fantastic man, that is for sure. We'll be back in a sec on In-Zone Rugby League.
This is In-Zone Rugby League on ABC Sport Digital, where the passes aren't forward, but the questions are.
Sammy, we've come to the end of another show. Who are you playing this week in Canberra Rugby League?
Woden Rams, they're 2 from 2. We had the bye last weekend, so it's going to be a cracking game of footy. First home game of the season for the Queanbeyan Kangaroos. Can't wait for it.
A big thank you to Clinton Shevkovsky for joining us, along with Jim Maxwell. Sammy, keep going well with your footy team, the Queanbeyan Kangaroos.
Thanks, mate. No, looking forward to another week, and I'll see you again next week.
All right, and for everyone else, enjoy your footy.
ABC Sport.
Welcome to ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 Anzac Day round.
Something big is coming, I know.
Richmond and Melbourne face off at the MCG tonight in the 9th edition of the Anzac Eve Clash. A stirring pre-game ceremony in darkness against the backdrop of the Eternal Flame, commemorating the men and women who have served Australia and New Zealand to start round 7 of the AFL. Hi everyone, Matt Clinch with you for ABC Sport. It's a night in which fans from both clubs have got heavily behind it since it was first introduced in 2015. Twice have had over 80,000 and never fewer than 56,000. The Tigers welcome back some experience with Dylan Grimes alongside Jacob Hopper, and Naismith and Nankervis will play against Max Gawn, while the Demons have made their selection at the table with Ben Brown out and Cozzy Pickett makes his return. There's no late changes for either side. Camden McIntosh and Bailey Laurie, the subs for tonight. Ben Cameron to call the action alongside me. Welcome to you, Ben.
Yeah, thank you, Clinchy. It's a special night to be here. There's no doubt about that. The ceremony is haunting, it's poignant, it's evocative. It's all of those things. The Eternal Flame has made its way from the Shrine of Remembrance to the MCG. It will do a lap and we'll see the cauldron lit here in a short while. The MCG, I always call it our shining symbol to Victoria, and tonight it becomes a monument to the Anzacs as well, and it feels incredibly fitting. It is one of the nights you feel privileged to be here, Clinchy.
It certainly is, and normally it's a beacon, the centre of Melbourne. It's in darkness as we look out at the moment with people using their mobile phone to provide the lights as the floodlights has been turned off and the Eternal Flame will make its way around the outer of the MCG. It will be lit, the cauldron, in a few moments' time. If you're heading along to the MCG tonight or you want to get in touch with us on the SMS, 0437 774 774 is the way to do so. A man who played in 5 Anzac Day matches, Essendon Premiership player Adam Ramanauskas. Welcome to you, Rama.
Yes, good evening to everybody. It is a very special occasion, a very special round. So tonight, and how Richmond and Melbourne now do an Anzac Day Eve clash into tomorrow, and Essendon and Collingwood. It's very, very special, but at the same time, it's I still think football takes a back seat to what the true meaning of the day is, and how we honour our Anzacs who are past and I guess and present as well, who are performing active duty still now.
And Anzac Day has become such a showpiece in our sporting calendar. Melbourne and Richmond have created tonight to really complement that, and it sits nicely. The tradition of coming along to the MCG, going to the dawn service the next day.
Yep.
Both clubs have played such a crucial role in educating the next generation about what has taken place.
Yeah, and I think that's the important. You mentioned the word education. Like, I'm trying to educate my kids now about our Australian history and what went before them. I had a great grandfather that was in World War II. So, and look, and I had the great Kevin Sheedy also educate me for many, many years at Essendon.
And just on that, I mean, I've learnt a heck of a lot more about Anzac Day as a kid and as an adult through the agency of Australian Rules Football and the AFL than I did at school, probably. So that is the role that football can play.
Well, and it's very interesting because my belief is we need to teach it better at school.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Our next generation need to learn about our history.
And alongside Rama, the Carlton 300 gamer, former captain Martin Murphy, who played in his own Anzac Day match back in 2015. Murph in Wellington, welcome to you.
Yeah, thanks, Clinchy. It is a special night and a special round to honour our Anzacs and current members serving. So it is a special round, and what it does, it provides a great platform to have these conversations about what people have done for us to be able to live the way in which we live in current day.
what was it like to play in New Zealand? A special occasion, something a little bit different, and unfortunately a tradition which hasn't been continued.
Yeah, one and only over there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, one from one against St Kilda. I thought it was going to be something that we could try and progress and get every year over there, but unfortunately didn't get much traction. But it was still an honour to go over there and play on Anzac Day. And a lot of the guys went to the dawn service over there, and it was a special occasion.
We've had a special performance from the Australian Army Band to honour those currently serving domestically and abroad with the Crowded House Classic, You Better Be Home Soon, and a chance for the fans to make their way into the MCG. Of course, it's a quick turnaround. It's one of those rare occasions where just 2 days in between rounds of footy, so the week starts on a Wednesday night. Richmond and Melbourne both coming off the bye, and then the massive Anzac Day tomorrow. And it continues to be the largest and most important event on the ABC calendar as well, with live coverage of the Dawn service carried across all ABC platforms, with Anzac Day services in all states and territories, as well as the local marches in towns and cities across Australia. So ABC Radio, TV will keep you across all of it tomorrow as the Eternal Flame is being taken around the MCG. And it's such a rare sight, isn't it, Ramo, to see the MCG in darkness. Yeah. We've seen it used for rock concerts, but it is a harrowing sort of occasion to come along to the MCG, not dissimilar to what it's like for the Dawn service.
No doubt. And I love this place at the best of times, but it's in all its beauty at the moment with the lights off, and there's some camera phones on, obviously, with the flashlights on, and I just think football are doing it wonderfully well at the moment in terms of honouring the Anzacs and how it's, how they should be honoured, how they should be respected, how they should be spoken about. And the stories that we just saw up on the screen there, Richmond having a presentation from an active serviceman and talking about the bravery and the mateship and the trust and all things that we talk about as footballers, Murph, from time to time. I'll never ever consider football to be anywhere near like going to war or anything like that, but in terms of the qualities and the characteristics, that's what you want to carry as a footballer.
As the Eternal Flame has made its way from the punt road end now under the Shane Warne stand side. You mentioned the Richmond pre-game. Melbourne during the week had Damien Tomlinson come down and address the playing group who, while serving in Afghanistan, his unit drove over an improvised Taliban bomb, and he suffered injuries, including losing both his legs, which had to be amputated. So he addressed the Melbourne playing group during the week, and very shortly Lieutenant Colonel Gareth Callender will receive the Eternal Flame and light the cauldron, with the two sides gathering underneath the scoreboard at the city end here. The MCG is in darkness with just a floodlight on the playing group and the umpires as they await the flame. In a few moments' time will be passed over. So it's round 7 of the AFL Wednesday night footy on ABC Sport. Matt Clinch and Ben Cameron to call all the action. Jess Webster down on the boundary. Adam Ramanaskas and Mark Murphy are your experts tonight. And as always, we'd love to hear from you. 0437 774 774. So you can keep in touch with us throughout the night and across the weekend, of course, with Anzac Day to take place tomorrow. So the passing of the flame is taking place at the moment. And we might be able to bring you in some of the effects from down at ground level.
And join us in silence as we remember the men and women who have served and sacrificed for this country.
So Lieutenant Colonel Gareth Callender has accepted the flame from Army Warrant Anthony Lynch, and he is making his way up the stairs now, which is under the stage in which they normally use for the concert on AFL Grand Final Day. And the cauldron is being lit. So in front of the Melbourne...
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember. lest we forget.
Please remain standing for the national anthem of New Zealand, performed by Private Hetty Adams from the New Zealand Army Band.
God of nations, at thy feet, in the bonds of love we meet. Hear our voices, we entreat. God defend our free land. God Pacific's triple star, from the shards of strife and war. May her praises heard afar. God defend New
Please remain standing for the Australian national anthem, performed by musician Lawrence Stewart of the Australian Army Band.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
So the Australian National Anthem performed by Lawrence Stewart of the Australian Army Band, and the New Zealand National Anthem performed by Private Hetty Adams from the New Zealand Army Band. And now the two sides gather in front of a joint banner with Lest We Forget, in front of the eternal flame, and they'll break their way through in a few moments' time. And the lights are turned back on at the MCG as we emerge from the darkness, and the official ceremony is completed. Matt Lynch alongside Ben Cameron to call the action. Jess Webster down on the boundary. Your experts tonight on ABC Sport, a man who played in 5 Anzac Day matches, Adam Ramanauskas, the Premiership bomber, and the 300-game superstar from the Blues, Mark Murphy, who played back in 2015 in New Zealand when Carlton took on St Kilda. Both sides have their own special Anzac jerseys to wear tonight. The Tigers with the gold sash has been replaced with the yellow poppies, and Melbourne with their Anzac Day. They're looking back to the 90th anniversary of the Shine of Remembrance. The jersey design features the original blueprints drawn by Philip Hudson and James Wardrop. There's a game of footy, Rama and Murph, and there's a fair bit of intrigue. Both these sides are coming off the bye. Melbourne have made the decision at the selection table with Pickett, Laurie and Turner coming in. Ben Brown is out. Well, Tigers get a little bit more experience back in with Dylan Grimes and Jacob Hopper returning. Sam Banks comes in and Sam Naismith as well. So 2 rucks is the option. Adam Uze, the former Melbourne assistant coach, will try and bring down his former club, and Max Gawn tonight.
Well, clearly, Murph, that's to work over Max Gawn. Well, Max has been in sensational form to start this year, so, expect, full pace, full aggression to be from the Richmond to Richmond ruckman. We know how aggressive Nankervis is at all stages, but having now Naismith in there as well, it should be an all-out assault, all-out attack, I think, on Max Gawn tonight.
Well, they're just going to have to jump into it all night. And there's only small periods where Van Rooyen will come in and help out as that secondary ruck. So that's their opportunity to try and get some ascendancy through the middle of the ground, Richmond, when Max Gawn does go out of the ruck. But they're just going to have to jump into him all night. He's too good of a player, and he'll still be pretty dominant tonight. You can't shut down Max Gawn. He's too good. But you're going to try and nullify the contest as best you possibly can.
And the thing with you've got to try to dictate terms against him. Max is so good at just setting up around the ground where he wants to. So I think when Richmond are winning the ball, Nankervis has to shoot forward and try to make Max chase him.
Got to get dangerous.
Yeah, he's got to get dangerous. Make Max defend. He's the absolute premier ruckman of the competition. There's no doubt about that. But at the same time, you can't just settle for that.
No.
You've got to go, well, when we've got the ball and when we're on offense, how do we actually make him accountable for us rather than Max just, going back, sitting in the hole, dictating terms, taking marks and then starting Melbourne's forward push.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how they actually go about it. Do they have Naismith and Nankervis just go 50-50 against him for majority of the night and say, well, whenever you've got a 7 or 8 minute block, just run as hard as you possibly can. We want you to get forward, obviously go back and work hard into defence, but you've got to push hard forward and make him track you at the very least and try and work him over that way. And you might not get him for 3 quarters. You might start to get him in that last quarter.
Look, Melbourne's last start, that was Brisbane, obviously, here, and it wasn't a great night for the D's at all, that one. No. So, I don't think we're going to see Clayton Oliver across a halfback flank again. I thought, their effort on the night, and it's very hard to measure effort, but it looked like they were tired. They come off a big period where they're over in South Australia for a couple of games. They got those couple of wins there, and I just thought that coming third up there, they just looked a bit tired. So the bye couldn't come at a better time. The Tigers also, they've got a mountain of injuries at the moment to key players. Yes, a little bit of experience back, but you want to see now, Tyler Young. You want to see Brown. Camrell Smith take the next step in his career. Campbell. Mansell's been around the edges now for a while. So
you want to see some signs, don't you? You want to see some shoots starting to come through, but you've still got some stars in there. You've got Hopper, who's back in through the midfield tonight. But just looking at the centre bounce work at the moment, Richmond are in there doing their warm-up, and you've still got Dusty Martin in there. You've still got Baker in there. You've still got Graham, and you've got Hopper. So, there's probably no excuses at ground level. There's some good enough players, well, not good enough players, some very good players still in Richmond's side who need to get dangerous tonight and try and work hard the other way and really put pay to some of these Melbourne defenders, because they got outworked last time they played out here against Brisbane. Both teams get an opportunity over the past fortnight to have a week off, but also train some work where they probably weren't getting a few things right in both their games. And it's very hard week to week in this day and age to actually train some things. So they've had some opportunity to try and train some things over the past couple of weeks, and we get to see whether or not it pays off tonight.
The really interesting part tonight is will Adam Uze, well, he should know what Melbourne's weaknesses are. He was there for such a long period of time, but can he expose them? Can he expose those weaknesses? Because there's going to be stuff we don't know. Like Adam Uze sat in that coach's box for a long time. And coached the midfield, coached the forwards at the Demons, and did an absolutely terrific job. But which player will he go? Which player will he try to expose? Brisbane went after Petrarca last fortnight ago, and it was a different look. They used the winger to come to Petrarca,
Yeah.
and then didn't allow him any space at contest or that next possession after contest. So will Adamuse use that tactic again against Petrarca, or is there someone else he'll go after?
Yeah, and you still feel Melbourne are trying to find out what their best forward line looks like, and Ben Brand goes out of the side, and we see a new look forward line yet again. But if Fritsch doesn't kick a bag, it's sort of hard to work out where they're going to come from. They're going to have to probably come from the midfield. The midfielders have to try and get involved in the scoreboard. Cozzy Pickett's another big in, not because of his class, but he just injects a lot of energy, I think, through their side, and he's able to come up through centre bounces and be that real spark through there at times. So big in for Melbourne, but they've got to try and find some goals and some opportunities a bit easier than what they have done in the past.
It's interesting. Simon Goodwin has backed in Harrison Petty. He's kicked 1 goal 5 so far this season. So Cozzy Pickett brings in some speed. But for Richmond, can you make a case for how they can win tonight? Can they bring the same pressure and intensity we saw against Sydney, against Melbourne? But they're going to have to be mindful of the May and Lever combination.
Yeah, that's right. Like it's not too long ago when they touched up Sydney, who everyone's predicting to be the premiership favourite at this point in time. So they've certainly got the capability to do it. I don't think it's going to be a huge margin tonight. It's going to be a pretty close contest, I think. And Melbourne, they were terrific over there in Adelaide. They were really poor out here against Brisbane. So they want to show that that's an aberration, and they've come away since then, but they were going really well up until that point.
I think Richmond's two assets forward are the ball of Dustin Martin and Shea Bolton. So how they expose Melbourne's defenders against those two becomes really important. Bolton has looked sensational this season. I saw him live at Norwood a couple of weeks ago at Gather Round, and he nearly won the game single-handedly against St Kilda that afternoon. So, does Melbourne go after a matchup? I would expect that Judd McVie probably goes to Bolton. Like, he's sort of getting those dangerous types of plays, but Bolton's different because he can go up in the air. And that when you've got that ground level and an aerial game as a smaller type forward, you become very, very hard to manage. The other one's Dustin Martin. Like, when he's not on the ball, they simply better off playing him out of the goal square as a full forward.
So what's that for Stephen May to play out back full back and try and take him?
100%. Yeah. I don't. When he comes to half forward, Dustin Martin, and he's like at half forward, I feel like he's sort of almost a little bit wasted there. I know
he could probably hand him off, couldn't he, to a teammate. And when he comes back to the cage deep in their forward line, that's when Stephen May takes him, because he's probably the only one, probably weight to weight division to actually take him.
Well, Dustin Martin is one of the best one-on-one players that we've seen in a long time. Just the way he's able to protect where the ball's going to drop and then take a mark. Like, he's just been brilliant at that for so long. So without any recognised forwards at Richmond, if you look down their list and you go, well, which other player is really going to kick a 4 or a 5? And you go, well, the two players are Dustin Martin and Shea Bolton. So how does Adamuse utilise those two weapons to really force Melbourne into thinking, well, we're going to defend these guys one-on-one rather than how we usually defend as a unit?
But the only way they're really going to have to get it in there is by pace, which is going to cause Melbourne some issues. If they're going to go slow tonight, Richmond, and Melbourne are able to get their full ground press into place, it's going to be really difficult for Richmond to score, because they're going to have to go long at certain periods, and they just don't have the cattle down there to be able to provide a good enough contest, I think, to be able to cause Melbourne some damage. So they need to get some hazard ball in there, some really quick football through the corridor, and really try and catch Melbourne on the hop.
I just think chaos ball tonight could be Richmond's best friend. Like that ball that dribbles along the ground inside forward 50, it doesn't allow Stephen May and Lever to really have an influence in an aerial contest, but I just feel that it brings Richmond's players into the play more in their forward 50.
Speed, pressure, chaos from Adam Romanascus and Mark Murphy, the keys for Richmond to win the match tonight. It's an interesting stage for Melbourne. They have Geelong and Carlton in the weeks to come. Clayton Oliver had the surgery on the finger during the bye, so he's right. So what percentage of time he'll spend in the midfield tonight? And we spent some time across half-back against the Brisbane Lions a couple of weeks ago. The final member of our team sitting in the front row tonight is Jess Webster. Welcome to you, Jess.
Thanks, Clinchy. A real privilege to be here tonight, and a really solemn but special atmosphere after what was a really moving pre-match ceremony. And we've touched on it earlier, but it's so great to see the footy community embrace this fixture, as well as Anzac Day tomorrow. A really good crowd building tonight as well for what I think is going to be a really important match for these two sides. And it's a chilly night ahead of us. a low of 11 degrees. But really looking forward to this contest on what is a really special night in our footy community.
Thanks, Jess. Looking for your contributions throughout the night. Matt Clinch and Ben Cameron to call the action. Adam Ramanauskas and Mark Murphy are your experts on the SMS 0437 774 774. Paul and Catherine want to know, where does Max Gawn sit in terms of Melbourne's all-time rate ruckman? Is he better than Jeff White and Jim Steins?
Oh, he's definitely better than Jeff White.
Cheerio to you, Whitey.
Yes. Oh, no, look, Jeff White was a terrific player, but you're talking about a
superstar.
A 5 or 6 time All-Australian here, and he's got a couple of best and fairest, so he's in the conversation with Jim Steins, Max Gawn. Make no mistake about it.
If he can turn Melbourne into another premiership side, he might all of a sudden find himself at the very top. Great to have Grant in Waterloo as well, and Ken from Sandringham as well. It's the Anzac Eve clash, Richmond and Melbourne on ABC Sport. Here's Ben Cameron to get us underway.
Umpire Matt Stevic, he lays it down. Linking up Nankervis and Gawn. Nankervis knocks it into Hopper, who knocks it into his face. Nankervis goes back after it, and he's wrapped up quickly. The ball spits out. Marlon Pickett able to get a handball away. Cozzy Pickett steals it. Back the other way go Melbourne. Inside 50. Van Rooyen juggles the mark. 40 out, 30-degree angle to the left.
Well, it's a perfect start for Melbourne. Just Max Gawn, we spoke about him just prior to the bounce, about one of his standings in the Melbourne history. Is certainly an absolute superstar. He just made his presence felt there, knocked over Hopper, created some space for his teammate, and then Cozzy Pickett, such a crucial in for him tonight, just laced out Van Rooyen.
A slow approach. Trots past the arc at 50. Drop punt from 45. His gun barrel straight. Van's the man. He starts the night off with a goal for Melbourne. They're 1 straight 6. Richmond yet to score. We've played less than a minute. Anzac Eve on ABC Sport. Matt Clinch, Ben Cameron, Jess Webster on the boundary. Adam Ramanauskas and Mark Murphy.
Well, the ball just bobbled around in the middle of the ground, Murph, really, and then it just finally comes loose, and it's sort of, you look at that and the ball going inside forward 50, and it's sort of a little bit unforgivable, really, for the Richmond defenders. They should have been a lot closer there to Van Rooyen.
Well, it wasn't a lace-out kick in space. It was just a genuine pop out the front and just stand there in an easy 1v1 contest, really.
Yeah, it's Cozzy Pickett there with the tackle of the ruckman, but yeah, that should be a spoil there.
So Damon strike first in under a minute. Back in the middle, Gawn and Nankervis. Nankervis wins the clearance. Hand pass to Baker. Tackled by River. Rivers gets the hand pass to Hopper. Around his body inside 50. Off the hands of Lafau. Racing back there. Lever left it in the air. McVie under pressure. Morris Rioli Jr. tries to keep it alive. Hard against the boundary in the left forward pocket. It goes out of play for a throw in. Richmond heading to the punt road end in the opening quarter. Melbourne 1 straight 6 to Richmond yet to score. Crowd has built throughout the evening. Looking at somewhere over 60,000, could be just under 80,000 is what the MCC is hoping for. Naismith doing the ruck work against Gawn, who slaps it down, bounces off Oliver. Lever gets the hand pass away to Viney. Melbourne out of defence with a kick up towards Petty. Brings it down to the front. Pick it over around the footy. Petrarca gathers. Hand pass to Oliver. Kicks up the members wing. Waiting for that kick is Miller. He runs on it. Good acceleration. Looks up towards half forward and finds Baker. Has Pickett running boundary side. Receives the hand pass and then dribbles a kick inside 50. Not great for Richmond. Lever gathers. Kicks up to the wing. Petty has it spoiled away. Nathan Broad rises over the top and spoils it out of play.
Well, they're well set up there, Richmond, on the defensive exit from Melbourne. They had Miller, who was the deepest, who read the ball really well, then used the footy well, but then it was just the inside 50 kick from Pickett, who almost missed his foot, to be honest with you, but that's a type of movement they need.
And Rooyen with the opening score of the game. It was a goal. Winning the tap, Gawn. Onto it, though, Richmond through Hopper. Handball away to Martin on the wing, on his left. Chips the ball for Baker. Rivers puts a fist in, spoils it down. Umpire lets them play. Oliver gets a handball away back to McVie, who gives it to Rivers. Kicks Melbourne back up to the wing. Loose footy on the wing. And Curvis able to pick it up for Richmond. Handball to Martin. Little 1-2 with Hopper. He'll kick to half forward. Turnover. Mark taken by Neil Bullen at centre half back for the D's.
Swings it out to Stephen May, who marks it left half back. Looks up to the wing where Chandler is running hard. On the Shane Warne stand side, he marks centre wing. Looks up towards half forward. Petrarca offers a lead, puts it up towards him. Miller reaches over the top and takes the mark for the Tigers at right half back. Melbourne by a goal. Switches back inside 50. As Young looks for an avenue out of defence, puts it out to left half back. As the Tigers look to try and build with Banks at left half back. Chips it into space. Pickett presents with a lead on the members wing. He takes the mark and turns and comes inboard to Nankervis.
Marlon Pickett knows a thing or two about playing big games at the MCG, of course. That debut on the grand final. We're in the grand final. And then Curvis moves it up to Shea Bolton. Wide out at high half forward. An attacking foray for Richmond. He sends it into the pocket looking for a marker. Gawn's there. Takes the defensive mark for the D's in the back pocket. Goes to fullback and the mark taken by May.
And there's the problem there. So Gawn's floated back in the hole there. But Nankervis is 15 or 20 metres away from the kicker.
Yeah.
Nankervis has got to engage Gawn if he goes deep inside Richmond's forward 50.
Rivers up to Langdon, who takes the mark just in front of a closing down Rioli, and now onto the wing for Neil Bullen. Melbourne up to half forward, Blostone in front. He takes the mark in front of Van Rooyen. The only goal scorer in the match so far through 5 minutes on ABC Sport. Nick Gloston up the wing, a great kick to Lafau. He marks between wing and half forward. He looks up and has Naismith and Martin inside the attacking 50 for the Tigers. Sends it in the direction of Naismith. He'll have to rise over the top of Tom McDonald and Jake Lever, and it's the latter who spoils it out of play. In the right forward pocket for the Tigers at the punt road end. Melbourne by a goal through the opening 5 minutes.
I almost feel that's a good result for them tonight when they can get a 450 stoppage. Naismith there providing the contest and bring the ball to ground at very worst, get another chance to set up.
The thoughts of Mark Murphy, Anzac Eve on ABC Sport, taking it out of the ruck. Naismith runs straight into trouble, manages to get a handball away. The quick kick towards full forward, out of bounds on the full from Hopper. And the D's will have it in their back pocket. Matt Clinch, Ben Cameron, Adam Ramanauskas, Mark Murphy and Jess Webster. A big 24 hours in the AFL. Howes in the back pocket, sends the D's up towards the wing. Massive pack forms off the hands of the pack. Out the back it goes for Gawn. Onto the footy here for the D's on the southern stand wing.
He looks to kick up towards Harrison Petty, missed him. It bounces just inside the field of play and will be a boundary throw in under the Shane Warne stand side. 6 minutes gone, opening term on ABC Sport. Melbourne with the opening goal through Jacob Van Rooyen. It's the 9th edition of the Anzac Eve Clash. The first time it was played on a Wednesday was back in 2019 as Viney's tackled by Baker. The 2 sevens go at it. Morris Rioli Jr., he left it for Nankervis. Hand pass to Baker, inside 50, Martin one-on-one. And Dustin Martin takes the mark. Judd McPhee trying to play in front, and Martin with his experience read it best, and he takes the mark in the right forward pocket, only around 30 metres out from goal.
That's the Martin factor there. So McVeigh, who's had a very good start to the season as a defender, but as soon as he was one-on-one, and he was slightly in front, he was about a metre or two in front of Dustin Martin, he was looking for Dustin Martin. So all Dusty did was just swivel the hips a little bit, and then McVeigh just couldn't get body contact. Simple mark for Dusty.
The 32-year-old Dustin Martin looking to get things going for the Tigers. He misses to the right-hand side. And a golden opportunity to get off to a positive start. They're one behind to Melbourne 1 straight 6. 7 minutes gone, opening term on ABC Sport.
Best of field tonight to win the Frank Checker Hughes medal, of course. As May takes the kick in. Short for Rivers. D's by 5 points. Rivers with a long kick up to the logo. Gawn in front, right there with him, Nankervis. Nankervis brings it down, quickly applies the tackle on Sparrow. And a ball up to come on the Anzac Appeal Round logo. Right beneath us, Anzac Eve on ABC Sport. Gawn lays it down, silver service for Oliver. Leaves it behind, has to go again. Spits out to Sparrow, off to Neil Bullen. His handball chopped off by Bolton. Oliver goes and pinches it back, gives it back to Neil Bullen for the D's.
Kicks up towards half forward. We're going back with the flight. Jack Billings marks. He's 70 out from goal. Pokes it looking for Fridge. Pick it in from the side. Can't take the mark. Grimes drops it for the Tigers under pressure. Gets it back to Blostone. A clearing kick up towards Shea Bolton. He marks it left half back for the Tigers. Turns and comes inboard to Nankervis. He's held up by Sparrow. Can get the hand pass away to Banks at half back. Chips a kick into the middle of the ground. Baker takes the mark. Bounces off Rivers. Wanted to get the hand pass away. Can't do so. As the ball spilled out just in front of the AFL logo and the Anzac logo on the members wing. Hand pass to Porter. Kicks up to half forward. And Jack Graham takes the mark. He's still 65 metres out from goal at the punt road end. The Premiership Tiger drives it long. Martin's in the goal square. LaFoul as well. Neither flew in the end. And Judd McVie takes the mark. That'll do his confidence the world of good for Melbourne.
Gives it off to May. Wants to kick beyond defensive 50 in the direction of Petty. Grimes able to halve the contest. Ralph Smith onto it for Richmond at half forward. Handball to Dow. Now Vlosten wants to come infield with the kick. A good kick to Brown. Inside the centre square. All of the 50 open to him. He'll chip it up the middle looking for Bolton. It doesn't get there. Rivers takes the defensive mark for the D's. They led it by 5 points. We played 13 minutes in the opening term. Anzac Eve on ABC Sport.
And we're seeing an old school tag. So Marlon Pickett and Christian Petrarca. Pickett's going every step of the way with Petrarca.
Just body checking him all around the ground at the moment.
Tom McDonald kicks up towards Bailey Fritsch, but it's well spoiled away by Tyler Young, who sees the ball out of play in front of the Richmond fans on the Shane Warne stand side. And a boundary throw in with Melbourne leading by 5 points. 10 minutes gone. Opening term on ABC Sport.
What goes through your head, Murph, when that happens early on in a contest?
Get running, get moving.
Yeah, get moving, exactly.
Thrown back in. Nankervis wins down the tap for the Tigers. Trying to link up with Thompson Dow. Can't do so. Melbourne under pressure. Ball spills out to Rivers. Gets the hand pass to Woden. Harder gets the boundary at left half back. Just squeezes the kick up the wing. A bouncing ball in which Mansell gathers. Sparrow tackles him. Turns it over. Woden from Melbourne. Hand passes it straight to Marlon Pickett. Turns into the middle of Brown. Brown kicks for Brown, who looks for LaFoul. It just clears his fingertips. Martin comes out. Has McVie right there with him. Can't clear it. Great work by Lever. Gets it away to Tom McDonald. Hand pass to Billings. And Melbourne are out now with a kick to Bailey Fritsch.
Here goes Fritsch in that famous number 31. Appropriately tonight. Goes long inside 50 and spots up Turner. He drops the mark at the end, but he held it for long enough. 35 out, 45-degree angle in the right forward pocket.
Well, there's the danger.
Space,
yeah, there's the danger of missing your inside 50 kick through the corridor, because Melbourne was straight out the other side and had so much space. And Bailey Fritsch is probably the only person who's hit a target inside 50. Everyone else has been pretty edgy and making a few errors, but he's a classy mover and a classy kick there to find a teammate amongst three.
Turner trots in, puts his laces through it and just misses to the right. Close to the right-hand goalpost, couldn't sneak it through. A minor score. 1-1-7 the D's. Richmond one behind. We've played 11.5 in this opening term on Anzac Eve on ABC Sport.
Richmond need to get a bit of reward for effort. They're at the 8 inside 50s so far to Melbourne's 3.
So Daniel Turner gets a look. He hasn't played since the end of 2023 as Broad kicks up the wing. Max Gorn positions himself and takes the mark. The Melbourne captain between wing and half forward on the outer side. Now the non-officiating umpire has blown his whistle in the left forward pocket. Not sure what that was for, but just holding up play. Gorn pokes it inside 50. Langdon's all on his own. Ralph Smith pushed up the ground, noticing Melbourne had a loose on the wing and he couldn't cover two players. We were Woden all on his own. It gave up an easy mark to Langdon inside 50.
Yeah, it was a strange one. It was almost like Ralph Smith thought
decision.
that Max Gorn was going to kick it to the shorter of the two options and went racing to cover off the man who was probably 70 out, as opposed to the bloke you see in there 45 out. So I would have thought probably staying back and covering the bloke inside 50 rummer.
Yes.
Ed Langdon in his trademark long sleeves with the sleeves rolled up in the left forward pocket from just inside 50, looking for Melbourne's second. He misses to the left-hand side. And a minor score. The Demons by 7 points. 13 minutes gone. Opening term on ABC Sport.
And Murph mentioned about Petrarca, just get running. You got to back your fitness then. You're an elite midfielder in the competition. You do so much. You just got to get going. Get on your bike. Blow, pick it up.
Loston goes up the middle. It spills to Martin. Gives it off to Marlon Pickett. Kicks to Grass inside 50. Morris Rioli tracking it. So too Campbell. It'll dribble into touch. And the umpire says spin it in. Right forward pocket. Is there any part of you, Murph, that thinks, oh, I don't want this tonight? Why me?
No, well, if you do, you're already beaten.
Yeah, you're done.
Benny. So I think Rammer's spot on. You've just got to keep on running. And it might not happen for you in the first quarter or the second, but eventually you're going to have to try and get him.
LaFoul and Gorn wrestling in Richmond's forward 50. It's gathered by Fritsch. Gets the Langdon, in fact it was. Gets the hand pass away. Turns it over though. Thompson Dow for the Tigers. Hand pass to Martin. Back to Dow. Trying to find an avenue forward. Awkward hand pass to Dan Rioli. Gathers it right half forward. He's trying to find a way out. He's almost brought down. Gets the hand pass back to Miller. Back to Thompson now. Beautiful sidestep around Petrarca. Long kick inside 50. Mays there. Gawn was there to offer support as well. And Melbourne will clear from the defensive 30. Kicks out to the members' side. Chandler running back with a flight. He marks it right half back. Melbourne by 7.
Stubs his toe on the kick. It dribbles towards Petty. He's tackled out. Strong tackle there from Tyler Young. And a throw in to come just on Ed Langdon with the long sleeves rolled up, showing the whites of the insides of the long sleeve.
Oh.
It's like he's paying homage to the opposition coach.
Adam Mouze.
No, Ed's done that for a number of years.
Yeah, but
I've never seen him in a short sleeve.
Yeah, but Adam Mouze was the OG when it came to the long sleeves rolled up in the D's.
I think Adam Mouze had the 3/4 at one stage.
I thought you were going to say our own Adam Romanascus. He had the long sleeves as well.
I loved it.
Hopper trying to get it forward for the Tigers. Hand pass to Pickett. He's tackled by Cozzy Pickett. And the Demons through Billings. Hand pass to Viney. Morris Rioli with a tackle. Woden. Great chase. Brings down Graham. No whistle. The umpire says no prior opportunity and a ball up in the middle of the MCG. Melbourne 1 2-8 to Richmond 1 behind. The Tigers have had more inside 50s, but Melbourne lead on the scoreboard. Spills out to Jack Graham from the ball up. Kicks up towards the top of the 50. Campbell can't take them up. Ralph Smith tries to wrestle it away from Lever. It's stuck underneath Jake Lever. Spills out to Graham of the Tigers. Hand pass to Dustin Martin. Feeds it back to Dow. Martin's now on the wing. Shane stand side. Swings on his right. Up and under kick. Morris Rioli Jr. might have to fly. Lever couldn't take the mark. Windsor at the back for Melbourne. Kicks out to Cozzy Pickett. He marks it right half back with Melbourne leading by 7.
Cozzy just stabs it short. Petty leads up and marks just in front of the interchange gates, backward of halfway. Members' side of the ground, comes infield to McVie. What a fine Judd McVie's been. A rookie pick and just a lock in this Melbourne defence at the moment. Goes short to Woden. Backward of the logo. He goes short and turns it over. Back in possession. Richmond through Tom Brown. Melbourne by 7 points.
Kicks to Dustin Martin. You heard there. As he gets the hand pass forward, it's set Baker a challenge. He gets it to Hopper. Hand pass to Morris Rioli Jr. Left forward pocket. Swings onto his right. And he misses across the face to the right-hand side. It's 12 inside 50s to 4. And yet Melbourne have the only goal for the match. 1-2-8 to Richmond. 2 behinds. 16 minutes gone, opening quarter on ABC Sport.
Well, that's the ball movement on turnover. Richmond have to really look for is that inside 45 corridor and try and get it out the back quick, because you can't allow Melbourne to set up. Perfect opportunity there, but just need to finish.
May goes short to Howes, who goes back to May, who goes up the middle, gets it away to Woden, onto Viney. Long kick to half forward. Van Rooyen might have got a nudge in the back. He'll get a free kick. Centre half forward here for the D's. They lead it by a goal. Van Rooyen's goal the difference. 55 out. Goes into the pocket. Fritsch. Bailey Fritsch, 45 out, 45-degree angle. Right half forward.
There's a bit of poor marking there. Just probably the most dangerous player inside 50, Bailey Fritsch for Melbourne, and just no body contact on him at all. He was just working back towards goal with the arm pointed out towards the pocket, and unfortunately no Richmond defender wanted to lay in front of him and push him towards the boundary.
With that very famous number 31, worn by both of the Barassis. His drop punt is out to the left, sliding across the face, a minor score. Melbourne leading by 7 points. So just on that, Ronald Dale Barassi Jr., he wore that number because of his father. He was the first VFL player lost in World War II, killed in the Battle of Tobruk in 1941. The last game he played was the 1940 Grand Final, where the D's won over Richmond.
Dan Rioli brings the Tigers back into play. Kicks up towards Lafau. Graham stayed down. It's Naismith who's the crummer. Hand pass to Baker, straight into traffic. He's tackled and brought down. Centre wing on the Shane Warne stand side as Alex Neil-Bullen lays the tackle. Melbourne by 7 points. 18 minutes gone. Opening term on ABC Sport. Toss in the air. Gawn removed out of it by Naismith. Spills out the way of Oliver. Gets a kick out towards Langdon. He overran the footy. Down one direction. Viney the other. Ralph Smith comes in to lay the tackle. Cheerio to Heinze, who's driving across the Nullarbor in his truck listening to the footy broadcast in memory of my granddad Evan Hughes, who fought in the Second World War, and my uncle Christopher Hughes, who served during the Vietnam War, thanks to the ABC.
Here you go Richmond. Young with the kick up towards Morris Rioli. Right there with him. A good effort from Howes, but a good mark by Morris Rioli. just in front of the logo on the members' side here for Richmond. Melbourne leading by 7 points. He goes into the pocket. Broken up by Woden. Brings it down to ground level. There to mop up. Thompson Dow to Broad. Off to Hopper. Keeps his shot low. Mays there as the goalkeeper. Marks at fullback for the D's. They still lead by 7, 19 minutes into the first.
Stephen Mays short into the back pocket. And the mark is taken by Langdon. Looks up towards the wing. And Billings is running hard. He takes the mark at left half back. Melbourne by 7 points. 1-3-9 to Richmond, 2 behinds. Around the boundary line, the kick finds Max Gawn. Marks in front of Sam Naismith. The Tigers going with 2 ruckmen tonight. Naismith and Nankervis to try and challenge Gawn. He looks into the middle of the ground, nothing really on offer, so drives a long kick around the wing. Van Rooyen sets himself, can't complete the mark. Pickett beautifully front and centre. Hand pass to Sparrow, missed Pickett with a hand pass back. He dives back onto it. Could have almost got below the knees of Baker. Pickett swoops back onto it, kicks to Windsor, it's over his fingertips. It clears he and Banks. Morris Rioli Jr. comes charging in, taps it to Vlodston, tackled by Windsor. House dribbles a kick towards the goal square. Miller's back there though for the Tigers. Gets the hand pass away to Banks, kicks off the outside of the boot, dribbles it up towards the wing. Neil Bullen gathers for Melbourne, breaks the tackle, hand pass to McDonald, kicks into the pocket, no mark claimed, a lunging effort not able to be taken by Turner, and Morris Rioli Jr. kicks into the middle of the ground and Banks is spoiled.
He goes after it again, but he's cluttered into by a couple of Ds. The ball spits out. Morris Rioli Jr. Defensive point of the square, gathers for Richmond. Handball to Broad, runs away from the trouble, now kicks out towards Nankervis. The big fella going at full steam, unable to take the mark, gets rid of it. Off towards Campbell, he'll kick up the wing. May getting involved. Lafau going after it. Loose footy on the wing. Oliver crashing through. Lafau keeps going. Spills out to Hopper. Now away towards Morris Rioli Jr. Lafau a big tackle. Ball bobbles out again. It's a hot footy on the members' wing. And a ball up to come. Melbourne by 7 points. Anzac Eve footy on ABC Sport.
That was a great minute and a half of football there. Both teams just fighting and scrapping and tackling and pressuring. Fantastic football.
Clayton Oliver on the left, inside 50, and Turner is removed. The mark is taken by Tyler Young, who switches it for the Tigers. Ralph Smith marks. Hand pass away to Nick Vlostone at right half back. Not a lot on the Shane Warne stand side wing. He puts it out in front of Naismith. What a pass. Sliding on his knees, he marks centre wing. Looks up towards half forward. Ralph Smith kept running. He marks between wing and half forward. He can beat the hand pass forward to Campbell. He's just outside 50. Missed Shea Bolton, missed Nankervis, and Max Gawn slides in. He might have taken it on the half volley.
Yeah, he did.
The umpire says no mark. A pull up 35 metres out from the Tigers' goal at the punt road end. Richmond have dominated the inside 50s, 15-8, but it's Melbourne. They lead by 7 points.
Umpire puts it aloft. Naismith hands to it. Gawn trying to get a kick away. Onto it, Ralph Smith for Richmond. Handball to Dow. Gets the handball away to Brown. Whacks it on goal. Missing to the left-hand side, very nearly from Tom Brown. Melbourne leading by a kick. 1-3-9 plays 3 behinds. 22 minutes gone. Anzac Eve on ABC Sport.
We're doing a lot of things right at the moment. Richmond just can't get that reward on the scoreboard. Their work rate's just through the roof.
The voice of Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport. Max Gawn and Rivers combined. The kick is over the head of Petrarca. Tough one for Young. Fumbled it. Gathered by Melbourne. And onto it is Viney. Hand pass to Cossie Pickett into the middle of the ground. And Alex Neil-Bullen takes the mark. Swings onto his left-hand side, looks inside 50, sets it in the path of Billings, who couldn't take the mark. Ralph Smith competes at ground level. Van Rooyen needs support. Hand pass to Oliver. He tries to knock it forward. It was a throw. Brown takes the advantage. Hand pass to Young for the Tigers. Up to the wing. They're out here. Baker needs a kind bounce of the footy. He gathers, takes a bounce. Corralled by Lever. Swings back onto his left. Hand pass to Campbell. Hand pass to Graham. Inside 50. Kicks towards the teeth of goal. Mansell flies from behind. Spoils McVie. Hand pass to Lafau. Sidesteps Rivers. Gets boots a ball and puts through Richmond's first. Hard work for the Tigers, but eventually they got the end result and locked things up at 1-3-9 apiece. 23 minutes gone in the opening quarter on ABC Sport. But Kelty Lafau, who, Rama, you impressed with his tackle on the wing.
Yeah.
He was able to follow up with a goal here, Richmond's first.
Yeah, look at it. It's off the back of his pressure. A couple of minutes earlier, it's a bone-crunching tackle on Tom Sparrow, but he's been active. He's got Stephen Mays, his direct matchup. Lafau, he's tried to work him side to side across the ground and try to blow Stephen May up. And on that occasion, he gets the reward. He simply worked harder than his direct opponent there in Stephen May. Now, yep, there's a little handover with Stephen May, and I think he went to Naismith, but it's just a great work rate. Mansell, terrific little handball. There's a little game of cat and mouse going on at the moment. So Melbourne have been able to get a lever free. At the other end of the ground, Richmond are trying to get either Broad or Vlosten free, but it's Tom Brown that's the free player for Richmond. So Vlosten has been caught on Bailey Fritsch, and Broad's been caught on Pickett. So it's making it tough to get those two players free.
Richmond come out of the middle through Martin, kicks to half forward. Baker, like a wrecking ball, attacking the contest. It's under a few players again in the middle, and a ball up to come. Fitting that McKelty Lafau kicks a goal, of course, New Zealand born, and naturally we often think about the Aussies as part of the Anzacs, but that NZ is part of it as well. Clearing from defence, lever out towards the wing. Petrarca can't quite take the mark, follows up well at ground level. Handball away to Windsor, kicks around the ground, bouncing ball there for Oliver, gives it off to Viney, his kick a turnover, and Tom Brown bobs up for Richmond.
The loose across half-back into the middle of the ground for Nankervis. Hand pass to Hopper, almost brought down by Gawn. Broke the string of play, though. Dan Rioli under enormous pressure as the tackle is laid by Jack Viney. It spills to Windsor and Melbourne. Hand pass to Oliver. Drives a high kick inside 50. Fritsch and Grimes. Grimes with an arm around the chest, and the umpire spotted it. And Bailey Fritsch will get the shot on goal. Slightly right of centre, 45 metres out.
Because there wasn't too much in that contest. He was certainly underneath the football there, Grimes, and tried to work his way around the back of Fritsch, sorry. But just the arm across just was the obvious call for the umpire to try and make from where he was standing, but there probably wasn't a lot in it, but just some real defensive pressure and tackling and some hard contests through the middle of the ground, which then opened up that opportunity for Melbourne.
Oh, Clayton Oliver's been put down off the ball here, and there's a bit of a fracas taking place at centre-half forward. You keep an eye on that, Rammer. Bailey Fritsch is starting his approach for goal. He has a behind next to his name. The Demon spearhead comes in, and Cooley slots it straight through the middle, despite the chaos taking place around him. And the Demons wrestle back the lead by 6 points. 26 minutes gone, opening term on ABC Sport. Melbourne 2-3-15, Richmond 1-3-9.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if it was Marlon Pickett, but I think Melbourne have certainly probably got a few in the gun at the moment. No, it was Marlon Pickett who just gave him a little cheap shot when Clayton Oliver's probably not even looking, so you're not bracing for contact.
Look at Jack Viney just straight in there to support his teammate. So.
And once you go to ground two, from memory, it's usually a fine, isn't it? I remember that was always the alarm bells whenever you're involved in a wrestle.
Yeah, you're in a wrestle.
If you go to ground, you're done for $1,500.
So here we go, yes, Marlon Pickett right to the midriff of Clayton Oliver.
You would have got that out of the ashtray anyway, Murph. Not an issue for you. Out of the middle goes Petrarca. Handball away to Gawn. Attacking edge of the square for the D's. Sweeps it out wide. Billings goes short. Van Rooyen on the end of it.
Play on, not
the 15. And the siren beats them. Right as he gave it back to Billings. So a goal left out there for the D's. They'll lead 2-1 at the first change. 2-3-15 plays 1-3-9. The goal kickers, Van Rooyen and Fritsch, while for Richmond, McKelty Lafau. So the D's leading by 6 points at the first break.
The goals coming through Van Rooyen and Fritsch for the Demons, while McKelty Lafau was the goal scorer for the Tigers, despite Richmond having 17-11 inside 50s in that opening quarter. It's the Demons who lead by 6 points. Macklich and Ben Cameron calling the action. Jess Webster down the boundary. The thoughts of Adam Ramanauskas and Mark Murphy in just a moment. And great to hear from so many of you on the SMS, 0437 774 774. We'll bring you them in just a moment. It's Wednesday night footy, Anzac Eve on ABC Sport, on ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app. Just look for the AFL button.
Time to steady and pull the trigger!
Get ready to tackle your week with the ABC AFL Daily Podcast. Join me, Catherine Murphy, AFL legend Paul Roos, and expert panellists every day to get the latest news, game analysis and insights straight from the field. Tune in to stay ahead of the game and get your daily dose of footy fever. Find the ABC AFL Daily podcast on the ABC Listen app.
The 2024 Anzac Day Round.
On your radio.
Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
It's the Anzac Eve clash, Richmond and Melbourne.
Marlon Pickett able to get a handball away. Hossie Pickett steals it. Back the other way go Melbourne. Inside 50. Van Rooyen juggles the mark. 40 out, 30-degree angle to the left. Slow approach. Trots past the arc at 50. Drop punt from 45. His gun barrel straight. Van's the man. He starts the night off with a goal for Melbourne.
Half past to Graham, inside 50, kicks towards the teeth of goal. Mansell flies from behind, spoils McVee. Half past to Lafau, sidesteps Rivers, gets boot to ball and puts through Richmond's first. Hard work for the Tigers, but eventually they got the end result and locked things up at 1-3-9 apiece. It spills to Windsor and Melbourne. Half pass to Oliver. Drives a high kick inside 50. Friction Grimes. Grimes with an arm around the chest. And the umpire spotted it. Well, Clayton Oliver's been put down off the ball here, and there's a bit of a fracas taking place at centre-half forward. You keep an eye on that runner. Bailey Fritsch starting his approach for goal. He has it behind next to his name. The Demon Spearhead comes in and coolly slots it straight through the middle, despite the chaos taking place around him.
ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 Anzac Day Round.
Great to have your company for Anzac Eve footy on ABC Sport on the SMS 0437774774. Brett's listening to you, Rama, listening with my newborn son. He's loving the call. A cheerio to Jack and Jesse, who's travelling to Oyen. Riola Jr. needs to be rewarded with a goal. Rosie says, listening to the Melbourne game, driving to Bunbury in WA, remembering my uncle who died flying over Germany in 1941, and my dad who served in the Philippines. Thanks to all those who have served. Fran says, listening to you on this chilly night in Melbourne, enjoying the call and the commentary. Also the references to the Anzac men and women who fought in war. Thank you very much. And Adam posing the question, all the best with the call tonight, guys. Tuning in on my drive to Albury. Think we might see Clayton Oliver breakout game back to his best. Your thoughts? Adam Ramanauskas and Mark Murphy with their thoughts on the opening quarter. The Demons lead by 6 points.
Yeah, well, that man, Clayton Oliver's had the 10 disposals so far and the 2 clearances, so looking a lot better than what he was a couple of weeks ago. But if we go back to Richmond, they just didn't get reward for effort, did they? Remember, they had the 17 inside 50s then, and it's always going to be difficult tonight because they don't have the real key targets, key tools to really try and bail out to, so they can't afford to go slow and just to go for those long down the line kicks. They have to change the ball with angles by hand or foot, and when they have done that on a couple of occasions, they've actually been able to score, but they're just currently not getting that reward for effort, kicking the 1-goal 3 from those 17 inside 50s. So just need to make sure they get that anchor target, whether that's a Dustin Martin or someone else who can try and stretch the Melbourne defence, but just trying to use the ball back through corridor on turnover. But conversely, Melbourne, when they do look like they're going forward, they've probably got a little bit more class than what Richmond have got at the moment, but just haven't been able to get as many opportunities with those inside 50s as what Richmond are doing at the moment. But we spoke about that battle between Marlon Pickett and Petrarca, and no doubt Marlon Pickett had the better of him in the first half, or probably first 20 minutes of that quarter, but then Petrarca's work rate started to come to the fore and started to get busy by hand and try and release the football to a few teammates, start to get a bit more aggressive, which is what you want to see from your star player. But Clayton Oliver, no doubt, started really well, but it's a bit of an arm wrestle at the moment, isn't it?
Well, it's a bit. If you look at inside 50, 17-11, Richmond didn't get value for money in that first quarter. Where Richmond are trying to expose Melbourne is with handball received. So 47 handball receives to 31. So clearly Adam Uze, and Murph spoke about this before the game, he doesn't want to allow Melbourne's defence as a team, as a structure, to set up. So it's like, let's move the ball on at all costs. Let's put them under pressure. Let's not let them set in their defensive grid as we've become so accustomed to. So I'll definitely keep a lookout for more of that in this game. Richmond have to get Nick Vlosten free as that loose defender. That quarter, a lot of it was Tom Brown, but at the other end of the ground was Jake Lever. So Nick Vlosten was seen on so many occasions, plays that loose defender where, one, he intercept marks, but two, he comes in the third man in that contest and he's able to spoil, then create the attacking drive for for the Tigers. So Richmond have just got to work that out. They've got to be better at identifying. Yep, Tom Brown's going to be a good player, no doubt about it. But I think if you want to win the game, it's Nick Vlauston who you need to get free in this second quarter.
It's not breaking news, is it? Tom Brown's a good player. Just on the Marlon Pickett incident, anything to worry about?
Yeah, he will.
Yeah, you can't hit someone off the ball,
and that's what they've said they don't want.
No.
Second quarter underway. Melbourne lead by 6 points. Max Gawn does it all himself. The tap work and the roving. Kicks out of the middle of the ground. Inside 50. Grimes in front. Dropped the mark. And then the tackle is laid by Turner. Locks it up on Ralph Smith.
The other thing with it, Benny, we only saw one angle. So it's whether he had a closed fist or an open hand.
It did look a little open hand.
Yeah, so that will determine the severity, I imagine.
Run the ball up now. Curvis one down the tap. Gawn gets the hand pass to Petrarca though. Hand pass to Sparrow. Tries to knock it back in front of the path of Petrarca. He's bumped off it by Hopper. Grimes to the Tigers. Hand pass to Morris Rioli Jr. Lost it. Swooping onto it. Pickett. Kicks in over the head of Van Rooyen. And a juggling mark dropped in the end by Young. Swinging onto it. Van Rooyen across the face of goal. And Vlauston going back with the flight. Takes the mark in the left back pocket for the Tigers. Melbourne by 6 points. Matt Clinch and Ben Cameron calling the action. Jess Webster down on the boundary. Adam Ramanauskas and Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport.
Vlauston stabs a pass low and hard onto the chest of Miller. He gives it off to Dan Rioli. Onto Broad. At halfback, the Tigers kick up to the winger. Turnover. Marked by Lever. Short to Cozzy Pickett. Attacking edge of the square for the D's. Comes back off the mark. Goes inside 50. Petty clattered into. Grimes swats it away. Then goes and gets it. Trips over the footy in the end trying to get the handball away. Goes straight to Pickett. And then back onto it, Richmond. Rioli away to Hopper.
Kicks into the middle of the ground. Well, Woden read it best. Couldn't take it cleanly. Lafau tries to slap it into the path of Dan Rioli. Left it for Hopper in the end. Gathers to the Tigers. Kicks over the head of Naismith. May comes charging out. Martin stayed at home. Kicks into the middle of the ground. Just got past the fingertips of Jack Graham. And Max Gawn marks it centre half back for Melbourne. The Demons 2-3-15 to Richmond 1-3-9. Well, Gawn goes short. Tom McDonald shanks it. Turns it over. Graham for the Tigers. Hand pass to Lafau. Martin still in the pocket. Kicks to him. And Stephen May rises early but can't get a hand to it. And Dustin Martin marks in the left forward pocket. And there's not much Simon Goodwin can do when you turn it over like that in the middle of the ground.
No, you're not going to get away with that when you turn the ball over there.
Martin's not waiting for anyone. Swings onto his right. Kicks truly. And the Tigers have their second goal of the match, and it comes through their superstar, Dustin Martin. Scores locked at 15 apiece. As Dustin Martin kicks his opening goal, 2-3-15, through the opening 2.5 minutes, second quarter on ABC Sport.
Well, they had Petrarca standing at centre-half forward by himself, so I'm not sure why they chose Melbourne to chip or handball, because it just invited the pressure from the Tigers. And Lafau, a beautiful kick inside forward 50. He saw Dustin Martin had a couple of metres on Stephen May on that occasion, put it over Stephen May's head, and Dustin Martin takes the mark, and the rest is history. So,
well, there's the benefit of keeping depth, right. like Dustin Martin will do. He'll try and stay as deep as he possibly can to goal. So, inevitably, when there is a turnover, then you've got that space out the back because Stephen May is always going to play in front of him.
Yep.
21 disposals, 3 goals and 11 score involvements in the last meeting between these two teams for Dusty Martin. Free kick from the restart. It'll go to Petrarca, and right there with him, Marlon Pickett. Going to go with him step for step tonight, you feel. Petrarca in the bullseye. Wheels around and kicks long in the Gawn direction. Runs underneath the footy. Bounces out the back. Free kick. It'll go to Richmond. I think Nankervis looks like the man who will get it.
Little
touch
nudge
from
Petty. Yeah.
So Nankervis at fullback, scores level. Anzac Eve on ABC Sport. Early stages of the second term.
Nankervis works it around the outer side, and the mark is taken by Tyler Young, playing in a key post with Miller for the Tigers in 2024. Kicks up towards Naismith, a free kick for a hold. It's going to go Richmond's way. No, it's going Melbourne's way. The umpire pointed the wrong way initially. Tom McDonald is going to get the free kick. He has it centre wing on the Shane Warne stand side in the middle of the ground for Tajwo Woden. Marks on the AFL logo, turns and chips it to Windsor. Between wing and half forward for the Demons. Scores locked at 2-3-15 apiece. 4 minutes gone, second quarter on ABC Sport. He turns it over straight to Morris Rioli Jr. He couldn't believe it landed in his lap at centre half back. He goes short to Graham. inside the middle of the MCG. He spots Hopper free just in front of the centre circles. Now he's got Lafowl deep and Ralph Smith pushing deep as well. He goes wider than that. Out to the wing where Broad marks. Hand pass to Mansell. Out wide for Naismith, who juggles the mark. Hard against the boundary, but had a metre on Tom McDonald. And this will test the former Sydney ruckman.
It was good ball movement. It was methodical. They didn't necessarily move the ball quick, but they changed the angles, so it just didn't allow the Melbourne defence to set up and own space. It was continually just move from one side of the ground to the other, open up some space, and then Naismith some smart little forward craft there by just working back towards goal and then popping back up into some space.
Played in the VFL last week for the Tigers, having spent a season with Port Melbourne. This will be a tough kick. Hard out to the left. He veers out to the right, never got near it. Outside the full rammer.
It was a high ball drop, wasn't it?
Ambition and ability maybe got confused.
I feel like we've seen that show so many times with the ruckman. I can kick this, no doubt.
Lever in the back pocket.
It is a long way down, Murph.
Short to McDonald, who kicks up to the wing. Vlosten hands to it, can't take the mark. Out the back, McVie standing up in a tackle. Manages to get a kick away. It lands in the lap of Cozzy Pickett. Forward of the logo. Southern side of the ground for the D's. Goes to a wide leading French and misses him out of bounds on the full. So the Tigers to get it back through Grimes, back from that wrist injury. Has it at left half back. Scores level. Anzac Eve on ABC Sport. We've played 6 minutes and change in the second term. Matt Clinch, Ben Cameron, Jess Webster, Adam Romanascus and Mark Murphy.
Dylan Grimes in his 15th year in the AFL, up towards Naismith, but in front of him an impressive mark taken as Trent Rivers had his arms dragged down. Had a big piece of it. He'll take the free kick on the Shane Warne stand side. 2-3-15 apiece. 6 minutes gone, second quarter on ABC Sport. Rivers off a step, kicks it high inside 50. Petty and Gawn are both there. It clears Gawn's fingertips. Fritsch was brought down. He didn't have the footy. Stuck underneath him. And Nick Vlostone, and the umpire will ball it up in the right forward pocket. Tossed in the air. Gawn and Nankervis. Nankervis wins it down. Windsor tries to knock it clear for Melbourne. Through traffic. Howes is brought down by Thompson Dow, and the umpire will ball it up. Here's Ben Cameron on ABC Sport.
4:50 stoppage for the D's. Nankervis and Gawn both with hands on it. And swatting it on Sparrow. Getting involved at ground level. Clayton Oliver can't extract it. Another ball up.
There's not a lot of space out there at the moment, is there?
It's in that 70-metre bubble at the moment.
Both rucks miss it. Getting onto the footy. Thompson Dow for Richmond. Gives it off to Hopper. Stripped of it. Fritsch might have a claim for holding the ball. Nothing doing. Spills out to Baker. Handball over his shoulder to Grimes. Under all sorts of pressure. And the umpire wants to come in and ball it up. Right forward pocket. Scores level.
Well, it wasn't a tackle.
Yeah, just kind of knocked it out.
It just slapped the ball out of Baker's hands.
Nankervis slaps it down for Richmond, but straight to Windsor at Melbourne. Centering kick, looking for Petty. Can't get a run at it. Miller kept him out of it. Ralph Smith tackled by Langdon and Billings. And the umpire will ball it up, this time in the left forward pocket for the Demons, who move from the right to the left. The Demons have it hemmed inside their forward 50 at the punt road end. Umpire throws it up. Gawn down to Pickett. On the move. Fends off Thompson down. Can't get boots a ball. He might have just at the last moment. Umpire says no. Holding the ball. A great lunging chase by Thompson Dow, who wins the free kick for Richmond in the right back pocket.
Yeah, it was a good one because he did swat the fend off, didn't he, first of all, and then stayed involved in the tackle, Thompson Dow, but started really well tonight. Showed us some good pace and a good step.
First round pick for Richmond. Thompson Dow kicks up to the wing. Scores level. Roving the pack, we're waiting for Melbourne. Handball to Rivers. Handball over his head to Billings. Now to Langdon. Long kick towards Cozzy Pickett. Broad comes across the front. Juggles the mark off his hands, off his bonce. Back into his breadbasket. Dangerous kick to Dan Rioli. Just gets there, top of his defensive goal square. Scores level. 9 played in the second.
Rioli goes short to the back pocket where Nick Vlostone takes the mark. Hopper with 15 disposals for the Tigers. Dustin Martin with 11. 10 for May, Gawn and Oliver for the Demons. There's the clearing kick from Vlostone. Finds Broad. Such a great ball user, Nick Vlostone. They work it out to Ralph Smith. He marks in front of Max Gawn at right half-back member side. Looks up the wing. Seth Campbell with the target. Rivers in from the side. He left it for Tom McDonald. Melbourne take the intercepting mark across half-back. Inboard to Jack Viney. Kicks to Sparrow. Back edge of the centre square. Hand pass to Langdon through the middle of the ground. To a stationary Clayton Oliver. Back to Langdon. It opens up in front of him. A burst of speed. Edge of the centre square. Pickett at the goal square. Shoves out Broad. Play on's the call. A desperate effort from Nick Flostone. Rushes it through for a minor score. So what happened to the umpire there?
You can't extend your arms.
It was almost like Cozzy Pickett was surprised it wasn't called and it went straight through.
Melbourne lead by that point.
I think that's the one they show in the umpiring manual for a push in the back, isn't it? That was very obvious. Melbourne leading by a point. Loston ambling to the pocket, driving it long. May in good position. Drops a sitter, allows in Nankervis. Hopper's kick, dribbles towards Bolton. Handball towards Banks, who gets a handball away. Now it's live in the middle, picked up by Oliver. Gives it off towards Chandler. His kick knocked down. Young there to mop up for Richmond. Handball to Grimes. Handball to Ralph Smith. Richmond at halfback. Will kick out wide and Marlon Pickett can take it. Members side of the ground. Melbourne leading by a point.
He chips it over the top to Hugo. Ralph Smith. Stephen May coming the other way. Cannons into him and spoils the ball out of play. We could see that from our commentary spot on level 3, but Hugo Ralph Smith couldn't see it coming.
Mullet was flying, wasn't it?
Yes. Who kicked that? Marlon Pickett?
Yep.
Marlon Pickett could see that coming.
Didn't do his teammate any favours. Thrown back in. Van Rooyen and Nankervis tangle. Both fall over. Neil Bullen, hand pass to Petrarca, down low, regathers, hand pass to Langdon, back to Neil Bullen, shovels a hand pass out to Sparrow, to Langdon, beautiful handwork, into the pocket, Bailey Fritsch across the face of goal. I think he was having a shot. Harrison Petty had a couple of metres, he couldn't take the mark, it goes out of play in the right forward pocket. And a throw in for the Demons.
Well, it was a great clearance. It was almost a training drill where Neil Bullen came up as that high half forward from behind the stoppage and ran through. A few midfielders getting involved, nice handball chains. Just unfortunately, like the tail of tonight, no one can really have that last finishing kick to find that mark inside 50 or finish off for the goal.
Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport. Van Rooyen down to Pickett. Cosy tries to fire towards goal. Tackled as he dropped it onto his boot, out of bounds on the full. So Richmond had 17 or 11 inside 50s in the first quarter. Couldn't put dominance on the scoreboard though. Melbourne in this quarter have dominated proceedings 8-3 the inside 50s. The Demons by a point.
Yeah, but the ball going inside Melbourne's 50 has been rubbish.
Miller receives it from Young. Goes for a little run. Takes a bounce into the right back pocket for Richmond. Kick up to the wing. Bolton in the pack. Hands to it. Lever attacks it. Wins it for Melbourne. Gives it to Fritsch. Stabs it short for Petty. 45 out, a couple of metres in from the boundary line. He marks.
That's better. Albeit
a pretty obvious one, wasn't it? But
yeah, he couldn't miss that. So Petty's very wide here. He's virtually on the boundary line, left forward pocket, 45 metres out.
Yeah, where the arc meets the boundary, he'll probably kick it from.
So you won't get much tougher kick.
Harrison Petty from right on the elbow of 50 in the boundary line. His drop punt is across the face to a contest in the pocket. Nankervis swats it towards goal, and Baker, having watched it run across the goal mouth, carries it through for a minor score. It doubles Melbourne's lead. They're out by 2 points. 2-5 plays 2-3. 13 minutes travelled. Anzac Eve on ABC Sport in this second term.
Broad goes short to Hopper. Another possession coming up for him. His 5th of this second quarter. 17th of the match before half-time. Back to Broad. So, Rami, you said rubbish delivery inside 50 for Melbourne. Is that pressure or delivery?
Delivery. I think it's more like Richmond's pressure's been okay, but the delivery's been poor from Melbourne.
Broad at half-back. Kicks up towards Nankervis. In the pack, Van Rooyen and Rivers. It spills down. House couldn't take it cleanly. Ralph Smith dives on the footy. They turn to the umpire. He's going to pay holding the ball. So Hugo Ralph Smith gets penalised for diving on top of the footy. The free kick going the way of the Demons through Blake Howes. He has it on the members' side between wing and half forward. Veers out to the right. Centering ball. Looking for the leader. Petty got hands to it. Almost claimed on the second bite. No whistle. Everyone thought it was a mark. Cosy Pickett gets a hand pass towards Langdon. Knocked away from him. Dan Rioli with a clearing kick. He works it to Ralph Smith. At right half back for the Tigers.
Ralph Smith moves it on short to Bolton. A low down, he's able to mark. At right half back, wants to take on Viney, gets around him. He'll kick around the members' wing, looking for Lafau. Right there is May, brings it to ground, wins it for the D's. Handball to McDonald, handball to Rivers. Zigging and zagging, handball away to McVie. He'll kick back up to the wing. Poor kick, Morris Rioli. He's able to mark it for Richmond. Right in front of the benches. Melbourne leading by 2 points.
14 minutes gone, second quarter on ABC Sport. Morris really just points towards centre half forward. That's not a great kick. Set a challenge for Thompson down, but Baker's up for it. Gathers to the Tigers. Hand pass to Dan Reilly to Martin. Brought down. Great tackle by Tajwa Woden. And Melbourne will win it at centre half back.
Yeah, it's got to be 50.
And 50 after it was kicked away. That was Liam Baker.
Oh, Murph.
Well, you know that's dropping the ball. And the whistle's gone. So
but Jack Viney's still playing at the ball as he's trying to smother it. So, yeah, I don't disagree with you, but I don't know if it's... I'm not sure that's an obvious one.
Tajwa Woden is 55 metres out from home. He goes long to the goal square. Corns there. He can't take the mark. There in the pack as well was Turner. It spills away a Marlon Pickett. Kicks across the face of goal and finds Banks in the left back pocket. Melbourne by 2 points.
Anzac Eve here on ABC Sport. Great to have you with us. Richmond quickly up to the wing and Lafau.
He's doing a good job with Stephen Mays, his direct opponent.
Gives it off to a teammate running by in Mansell. High kick towards half forward. Now getting after it, Graham for Richmond. Handball to Baker. He'll try and work his way through the pack. Here's Mansell snapping it towards half forward. Bouncing ball. Bolton attacking it. Zigging and zagging through them. Turning towards goal. High ball to full forward. Getting back. Billings can't mark. Campbell there for Richmond. Billings keeps it in play. Neil Bullen on the last line. Carries it through. Minor score. Melbourne's lead halved. It's back to a point. 16 minutes into the second. You're on Anzac Eve on ABC Sport.
On the SMS 0437 774 774. Dan from Brisbane, thanks for the call tonight in memory of the Anzacs, my dad and uncle who served in World War II, also grandfather who went to the Boer War. Thanks for your contribution, Dan. The Tigers across half forward through Brown. Gets the hand pass away to Banks inside 50. Awkward ball for Rivers. Couldn't complete the mark. Baker comes in with a bone-rattling tackle. Locks the ball in the left forward pocket for the Tigers. 16 minutes gone. Second quarter. Melbourne by a point. Just the one goal so far in this second quarter.
Just again, Lafau just trying to disturb the body, wasn't he? Just trying to get the ball to ground at very worst.
Gawn trying to take it out of the ruck. His kick ricochets off bodies. Neil Bullen going in right there with him, Lafau.
And what Lafau is doing with Stephen May likes to sit off, but Lafau is leading straight at the ball. And Richmond are actually using him on the hit-up.
Doing the ruck work here, Lafau. Wins the tap down, then follows up. Still going after it. McDonald picks it up. Tumbles a kick out to the wing. Broad there for Richmond. He marks beneath the Great Southern Stand. Richmond in possession on the wing. Melbourne leading by a point. He'll kick back towards Miller.
Yeah, they're going to have to try and work it around because they've just got Mascorn sitting back in the hole.
And Miller goes short to Brown.
Yeah, get it out to Vlosten this side.
Tom Brown wheels around. Sends it long towards full forward. McDonald at the back. Juggles the mark for the D's. We have it on the last line.
That's a behind.
Oh, that's a behind. Yeah, went behind the behind post. Kicked it through the goal mouth, and that is a behind. You're not allowed to do that. You have to come back in where you went through. Scores level.
Thankfully, it's in the second quarter and not the last quarter.
And hopefully that's not an important point.
Well, there's the kick from Rivers. Found Howes. He missed Clayton Oliver. Windsor trying to clean it up for Melbourne at halfback. Hand pass to Rivers. Over the top to Neil Bullen. Has Oliver running boundary side. Can't start set. Boston and led a great tackle. It spills out. Neil Bullen's tackled. He didn't get a clean hand pass away. Umpire waves play on with Boston over the footy and Rivers over him. The Melbourne fans on the members' side, I think there were a couple of whistles that weren't paid.
You write down that important point, Benny. Time.
Yep.
You just make sure it's there so you know.
As John Newcomb used to say, just put an asterisk against it. It might be an important moment.
I've got it down, Rama. Don't worry about that.
Make sure you do it, Benny. Shea Bolton knocks it forward for Richmond. Lever gathers for Melbourne. Hand pass to Windsor. Kicks off the outside of the boot towards Gawn. Bumped off it by Marlon Pickett. Hand pass away to Vlosten. Centre wing members side. A searching kick into the middle of the ground. It opens up play in front of him. Banks takes the mark. Looks inside 50. Lafau was ignored. Long driving kick in the direction of the Flyers. Outnumbered Mansell 2-on-1. May and Lever were both there for Melbourne. And Jake Lever takes the mark. 15 metres out from goal at the city end. Scores level at 2-5-17 apiece. 19 minutes gone, second quarter on ABC Sport.
May running around the boundary in the back pocket. Tom Brown goes upstairs. Can't drag in the mark. Had himself a night. Melbourne come away with the footy though. Van Rooyen releases Petrarca through the attacking edge of the square. Turner marks, runs in and will whack it through. Melbourne go whooshka and take back the lead. And the man they call Disco thinks it's time to party. He was pretty happy with it all. He's got some blood streaming from his mouth. Melbourne leading by 6 points, 3-5-23, plays 2-5-17. Adam Ramanauskas, Mark Murphy.
Well, Murph, it simply wasn't the right decision by Banks, where Richmond had switched the play. They moved it to the other side of the ground, to the southern side of the ground, and there was options. There were shorter options, but Banks decided to go long, where it was a 2-on-1, Mansell versus Lever and May.
Yeah, you're talking about that last Richmond inside 50 opportunity. That they just needed to go out the other side, didn't they? And almost just take some sting out of it, because Rioli was making some space. But whereas they decided to go back into traffic, and that's where Lever and May just set themselves up. And then, as we know, they go straight back out the other side and score.
Mark Murphy and Adam Ramanauskas with you on ABC Sport. The reason Daniel Turner was up and about, his first goal in AFL footy.
Oh, there you go.
Not too many of his teammates were as embracing as he was.
Be a nice photo with the blood.
Really get around him.
Disco, did they?
Sparrow couldn't break away as Dustin Martin was tackled. It spilled away of Shea Bolton. His kick was smothered by Petrarca. Melbourne away. Hand pass to Neil Bullen. And Max Gordon, the link in the chain from 52. Flying Max misses. Off line to the left, and the mark is taken by Grimes. Up against the right behind post as he chips to Dan Rioli. Jess Webster on the boundary.
I'm pretty sure Daniel Turner knew exactly that was his first goal in AFL footy as he was coming to the bench. He had the biggest grin on his face and received a lot of high fives from everyone on the bench, and he's getting patched up with that little bit of a cut on his face. He'll be back out there soon.
And what do you reckon the crowd's at, Jess? Do you think we're close to 80,000, which is what the MCC were hoping tonight?
Yeah, I think maybe 70,000, maybe, in the 70s. But it's definitely built a lot since before the bounce.
Yeah, good turnout for a Wednesday night, but this is becoming an annual tradition. Shea Bolton switches across half-back, and the mark is taken by Tyler Young. Melbourne by 6 points. Here's Ben Cameron on ABC Sport.
Young stabs it short to Grimes. Voted the most courageous player by his peers back in 2019. And an All-Australian. Best and fairest winner as well. Kicks around the members' wing. In the Naismith direction. Brings it down for Pickett. Tries to run through them. Handball away. Straight to space. Lever picks it up for the D's. Kicks aimlessly into the wing. And the mark taken by Bolton, who wheels and goes inside 50. And Ralph Smith takes a finger tipper. Now goes short. Maurice Rioli in front of Martin. He takes the mark. 30 out directly in front.
Albeit it was a turnover there by Lever, but Shea Bolton to completely change the angle going inside forward 50, to have the vision to see Ralph Smith just out of the corner of his eye.
That's the difference between an A grader and a B grader, isn't it? To have that vision, just that awareness, take an extra half a second to see what's ahead of you or what's to the side of you.
Maurice Rioli Jr. Plum in front, 35 out. His father's son. He draws Richmond back level. 3-5-23. 23 minutes into this second term. Anzac Eve on ABC Sport. The Essendon Premiership player and former Carlton captain Adam Ramanauskas and Mark Murphy.
Yeah, it was a terrible turnover.
Lever,
as you said.
Just had to go up the line.
Just not sure. There was no teammate even within 15, 20 metres of where that ball eventually landed in Shea Bolton's mitts. But Maurice Rioli, he's done really well tonight. He's got himself involved in the contest, and usually that's just by his pure pressure and work rate and closing speed, just to not allow easy balls to come outside the D50. But he's starting to get involved with getting possession. He's had quite a few tonight. He's had the 9 disposals, which is probably, almost a game high for what he'd usually finish with. Yeah. Maurice Rioli Jr. So he's getting involved on the offensive end as well, which has been really important for Richmond.
In the middle now, Curvis one down the tap for Richmond to Shea Bolton. A chance to go inside 50. Naismith slipped over, and Lever takes the mark with good support from Tom McDonald. 15 metres out from his defensive goal at the city end. Scores level at 3-5-23 apiece. Out to McDonald, who marks in the right back pocket. He can work it out to Howes, who marks just outside the defensive 50. Just in your thoughts, Murph, on Jack Viney, who's been pretty quiet. Just the 6 disposals so far this match. He won the Best on Ground award last time these two sides met with 32 disposals. As Oliver kicks up to the wing in the direction And Sparrow had to spoil down to Langdon. It's slapped away from them by Ralph Smith. Here's a chance for Viney on cue. Gathers for Melbourne. Hand pass to Oliver. Swings onto his left. Kicks up towards Van Rooyen. Gave a shove on Young. Got away with it. Van Rooyen gathers for Melbourne. Right half forward. Chips it inside 50. Pickett had it knocked away. A desperate act. Getting back Thompson down. Under pressure. He got it from Grimes. Tackled. Ball spills clear. Sparrow tries to knock it on. There's a whistle by the non-officiating umpire over the shoulder and a Richmond free kick.
Did a good job there, Tom Brown. Thompson down, terrific defensive there, pressure just to get the arm in, but I really like that from Tom Brown. He looking like a real player for the Tigers.
Done quite a few good things tonight, hasn't he?
Your favourite Tom Brown now, isn't he, Rammer? We would have had a few stoushes with the former newsbreaker.
He was never my favourite.
Oliver goes out of the middle, gives it to Windsor. Steps around his man, wants a centering ball straight to Ralph Smith. He marks 40 metres out from his defensive goal.
Just a lot of garbage going inside Melbourne's forward 50 this quarter. There's another example.
They've gone 3 goals apiece for each team, and it's been goal for goal. Neither team with back-to-back majors. Richmond work it up to the southern wing, mark taken by the most recent goal kicker, Maurice Rioli Jr. Scores level 25 minutes into the second.
Chips it around the boundary line to Shea Bolton. We could do with a bit of excitement from this man. He looks inside 50. Kicks towards the pocket. Naismith can't take the mark. Baker comes rushing in. Big tackle on Jack Viney. It spills out Melbourne's way. Petty's on the half-back line. He can't knock it clear. And the umpire will ball it up 50 metres out from the Tigers' goal.
Well, you talk about Jack Viney being a little bit quiet. Well, Baker and Viney are sort of going at it, really, as direct opponents in the midfield tonight.
Naismith won it down. Read best by Ralph Smith. Kicks inside 50. Fridge back with a fly. Takes the mark despite the late challenge from Dylan Grimes. And Bailey Fritsch pushing back down the ground. That's a shocking turnover. Straight to Seth Campbell, who takes the mark for Richmond on the members' wing. Looks inside 50. Sets it for Nankervis. In front. Is the mark claimed? It is. Dylan Grimes had to look twice to make sure it was him. The defender is pushed forward, and why not me? Takes the mark directly in front. He's about 40 metres out from goal. He has kicked 3 goals, Rammer, in his 233 games.
Yeah, we were standing the mark against Bailey Fritsch, and then obviously the turnover happened. He just stood there in exactly the same spot. He thought, why not just get on the forward end here and take a grab inside 50? It can't be that hard. He's probably thinking to himself.
He puts the ball on the ground, rubs the hands on the turf, and then the siren sounds for half-time. 3 goals in his AFL career. Dylan Grimes, after the half-time siren, any score will put Richmond in the lead. He'd love a goal here. Grimes comes in directly in front, leans back on it, and misses to the right-hand side. His teammates come around him. They were impressed by the mark. The finish just left a little bit to be desired, but Richmond lead by that point. 3-6-24 to Melbourne 3-5-23. It wasn't a long quarter, it must be said, because we only had the 3 goals in which Richmond kicked 2 goals to 1. And at half-time, it's the Tigers 3-6-24, leading Melbourne in a low-scoring affair 3-5-23. The goal kickers, Dustin Martin, Maurice Rioli Jr. and McKelty Lafau for the Tigers, while for the Demons, Van Rooyen, Fritsch and Turner. Half-time at the MCG on Anzac Eve, Wednesday night footy on ABC Sport. The Tigers by a point. The thoughts of Mark Murphy and Adam Romanascus.
Well, it's been a bit of a tough watch so far, hasn't it, Rammer? It hasn't been one for the archives, certainly, when Richmond are sitting there at 3-6 and Melbourne 3 goals 5 for the half. But at least we've got a contest. It's certainly an arm wrestle, especially around the middle of the ground. But yeah, just the inside 50 connection for both teams. I know there's been a lot of press over the past probably couple of years about Melbourne and their inefficiency going inside 50, and they're still just unable to find an easy target going in there. And so whether it's the forwards' movement and their patterns that need some working, or it's just the pure skill errors, which we're seeing tonight, that just basic errors that should be easy for players of this standard to be able to hit targets inside 50 just aren't happening for them at the moment. Richmond, you've got to reward what they're doing at the moment. They came here as a severe underdog and are really taking it up to Richmond so far, just allowing no space for them to operate. And if they had those key targets up forward with a Tom Lynch or someone down there who could be that real focal point for them, it might be a little bit of a different story than what we're seeing at the moment. But yeah, we spoke about Lafau being that option for them, who's been standing next to May in that second quarter, trying to create a target and trying to bring that ball to ground. But they're just fighting, competing at the moment. Richmond and Melbourne are just sort of butchering the ball going forward. So it'll be interesting to see what happens after this halftime break.
Well, Melbourne had 15 inside 50s for 1 goal 2 that quarter. So they kicked the ball.
Putrid, isn't it?
Well, they kicked the ball at 55%, man. So it's just horrible. And not only were they turning over the ball in their forward half, but the second part of that second quarter, they're turning the ball over in their back half.
Where there's numbers for the easier kicks.
That's right. So, yeah. Maybe change your boots at half time, Glitchy.
Remember the old when you'd walk into the change rooms and blokes had slipped over or they're missing kicks and it'd be, have you got your screw-ins today?
Yeah.
Was it you who was saying last week that Sheeds used to follow you
all
the
way
to watch you actually change your boots?
If we slipped over a couple of times within the quarter or the half, and half time, Sheeds would follow us to the boot stutter or our bag, and he'll watch us put the screw-ins in. So... Because you can get away with it, like, you know,
say,
I've changed my boots. Yeah, of course I wore sweats. No, show me, son. Show me you put the studs on. So, look, I think that quarter was better for the Tigers in terms of the way they went inside their forward 50. Okay, there was a couple of occasions where Lever or May took the intercept mark, but there was also other occasions when they went to the smaller players. Dustin Martin takes a mark. Ralph Smith takes a mark, then over to Morris Rioli Jr. So they're trying to find options. Shea Bolton comes into the game in the second part of that second quarter, where he looks very dynamic in the way he's playing. So I think the Tigers, they're doing a good job. Like I came here with low expectations for Richmond tonight, but I think the way they're playing, the way they're trying to force Melbourne to shift their defence. I spoke about the handball receives in the first quarter. That was evident again in that second quarter, where Richmond wanted to roll the ball on. They wanted to make Melbourne sort of, look all at sea in defence, and they were able to do that a couple of times. So obviously the game's evenly poised. We're 1 point in the margin, but I think Richmond will be a lot more happy with that half than Melbourne would be. Melbourne kicked the ball poorly, made poor decisions, allowed Richmond easy turnover. What's the matchup with
Marlon Pickett's he had the 11 disposals and Petrarca the 10, so you'd say that Marlon Pickett's probably had the better. He's probably an arm wrestle so far, but when you look at those two and what their probably output could be at a best possible result, Petrarca's obviously a superstar. Marlon Pickett's a good player, so I think to be able to blanket and be that 50-50 at the moment is a really good result for Richmond.
Yeah, and the other one is, I mentioned late in that quarter, Liam Baker and Jack Viney. Baker's had the 10 possessions, 1 kick, 9 handballs, but Jack Viney's only had the 7 possessions, 4 kick, 3 handballs. So Richmond have got 2 wins there in the middle of the ground with those two guys playing. Pickett definitely a defensive role, but Baker's going all the way with Jack Viney tonight.
So both these sides are coming off the bye. For Adam Uzo, he'd be thrilled with the fact that it's low scoring, it's tight. We love the way we can play our slingshot sort of style of footy and attack when we can open up the forward 50. How does Simon Goodwin sort of jolt his side, whether it's execution, a little bit of mindset?
A lot of it's execution.
Try and get his star players to set the tone.
Well, I think when the opposition midfield is on top, well, Hopper's had the 17, Oliver's had... what's he had? 15. Then
I'd like Petrarca to play a few more tricks.
Yeah.
They could
I want to see half forward.
They could get a half forward to come up to the stoppage. Petrarca starting obviously in the midfield and then just going forward, because Pickett's going everywhere with him, so he can dictate to him. So I don't think he's dictating enough than what he probably should be at the moment. So Petrarca can play some tricks and really get on the fly hard and get it out to space. Everyone bring in tight to the contest. Max Gorn, push it out far. Let Petrarca run onto it, play some tricks like that, because you've got the premier ruckman in the competition. He should be able to try and get out to some space. And then Marlon Pickett, he got 1 free kick against him here as a hold, so he's going to get nervous around the stoppage because he's not used to being in there as well.
Or start to test Pickett. Take him to half forward first. So as Petrarca playing as a higher half forward, then slowly creep your way back to the goal square. Like, I don't think Marlon Pickett will want to play. Yeah, he could play out of the goal.
You can try a few things. You can start in a half forward flank and Marlon Pickett, see if he comes with you. If he comes with you, then just go play midfield. Then Melbourne got 5 forwards. You got more space.
It's like I think what Nat Fyfe said to Kane Corns when he was tagging him one day. He said, "Get your fragile bones and come with me down to the full forward. See if you like
Come
it."
to the cage.
Yep.
I guess the Demons' issue has always been that cohesiveness inside forward 50. They've chopped out Ben Brown this weekend. They've brought in Daniel Turner. Cosy Pickett returns. It feels like they're trying to work out what is the right combination on the run.
Well, I wonder how long they'll continue to go with Harrison Petty as a forward. Like, he had one or two good games as a forward last year. Predominantly had played as a defender.
He had one good game where he kicked 6 goals.
That's it.
It feels like the definition of insanity at the moment. Like, it is the same issue over and over again. Like, how often can we speak about that mid-forward connection going inside 50?
But they've already moved Tom McDonald back. They've made the call around him.
15 inside 50s for 1 goal too.
Yeah.
That says it all.
Does it?
It says it all.
The thoughts of Adam Romanascus and Mark Murphy with you for Anzac Eve footy on ABC Sport on the SMS 0437 774 774. Rod from Hobart, so many turnovers. The kicking has been terrible from both sides. Phil from Victoria, hi team, enjoying the call. These guys are playing a whole season in one game. Let's hope this game, this round, and all the hard-fought ones are like it tonight. And Jack and Jesse made it to Oyen. Good on you. And you got a goal for Morris Rioli Jr. Shea to step up in the second half. Thanks for your thoughts on the SMS. We'll pause for the MCG for the moment and get the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
ABC News with Glenn Lauder. Officers from New South Wales Police, the AFP and ASIO have arrested 7 juveniles following joint counter-terrorism raids in Western Sydney. Here's Melissa McKay.
There's 13 search warrants that have been carried out across various suburbs in southwestern Sydney today. 400 police officers involved in those. Police say that there's currently no ongoing risk to the community, and they've said that there is no link between these raids and any Anzac Day commemorations or any religious holidays. These search warrants were the result of about a week of surveillance over a group of people that they identified as in the circle of that 16-year-old who has been arrested and charged with a terrorism offence after allegedly stabbing that Bishop Mamari Emmanuel at the Christ the Good Shepherd Church last week.
Police are looking into whether they should investigate suggestions Bruce Lehrmann leaked confidential material to Channel 7. After evidence emerged from his failed defamation case in the federal court. The ACT government says it's up to the Director of Public Prosecutions to decide if any contempt proceedings will go ahead. Justice Michael Lees found on the balance of probability Mr Lehrmann did rape Brittany Higgins in his ruling on a case launched after Mr Lehrmann's criminal trial was abandoned with no findings against him. AFP Commissioner Reece Kershaw has been questioned during Press Club about whether police are looking into evidence that Ms Higgins' messages were shared with Channel 7.
So is it under investigation, or are you considering whether to investigate?
It's, without me getting technical, it's not an investigation. It would be reviewing the material to see if there's a threshold for an investigation.
The Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has completed his 2-day trek of the Kokoda Track alongside the Papua New Guinea Prime Minister James Marape. The pair has arrived at the Isharava Memorial Site and will attend an Anzac Day dawn service tomorrow morning, honouring the more than 600 Australians killed and 1,600 injured on the track during World War II. Mr Albanese says it's very humbling to have walked in the footsteps of giants.
It is quite extraordinary, the achievement that they did to defend this nation and to defend Australia. But what the walk has also been about is us walking side by side, showing that we walk together today and into the future as well.
Some economists say inflation in the services sector is keeping the overall rate higher. The latest official figure shows prices increased by 1% in the March quarter, with the annual rate at 3.6%. It's down from 4.1% in the December quarter, but it does remain outside the Reserve Bank's target of between 2 and 3%. RBC Capital Markets Chief Economist Sue Lin Ong says the last stretch to curb inflation is proving difficult.
It's definitely telling us that getting inflation back into the Reserve Bank's 2 to 3% target range is really quite challenging. The first quarter inflation data was stronger right across the board, particularly the key core measures of inflation and services inflation, and that's what the Reserve Bank is looking at most closely.
3 Australians have joined 1,000 activists on an unauthorised naval mission to deliver aid to Gaza. The Freedom Flotilla Coalition's aiming to deliver more than 5,000 tonnes of food and medicine, along with 8 ambulance vehicles. Surya McEwen is one of the 3 Aussies joining the flotilla. He says he's aware of the dangers that he faces, with Gaza still under an Israeli naval blockade.
It's a tricky situation. They've never tried to take boats into an active war zone at this scale. And so we don't entirely know how it's going to unfold. We have a bunch of contingencies for different possibilities.
The former Australian Rugby League international Terry Hill has died at the age of 52. Duncan Hunsdale has the story.
One of rugby league's larrikins, Terry Hill, played 246 first-grade games in a career that started with Souths in 1990 and ended at Manly in 2005. He was a star centre for the Sea Eagles during his first stint at the club in the 1990s. Manly CEO Tony Mesdrov said Hill was a much-loved and respected figure at not only the Sea Eagles but across rugby league. Hill played 14 State of Origin games for New South Wales and 9 tests for Australia. It's understood he died of a heart attack in the Philippines.
And in the AFL, West Coast defender Tom Barras has failed to have his one-match ban for a dangerous tackle on Fremantle's Michael Walters overturned at the AFL Tribunal. That's ABC News.
If healthy living is your thing, the ABC Listen app has all the podcasts. Try the Health Report.
These are ultra-processed products, and if you compare the calories...
You might also like What's That Rash? You're talking about zits.
Teenagers love to go...
Or Life Matters.
Love online after 50. It took me 18 months to download my first dating app.
Get your health kicks anywhere, anytime with the ABC Listen app.
The 2024 Anzac Day Round.
On your radio.
Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Tom McDonald shanks it, turns it over. Graham for the Tigers, half pass to Lafau. Martin still in the pocket, kicks to him. And Stephen May rises early but can't get a hand to it. And Dustin Martin's in the left forward pocket.
Well, you're not going to get away with that when you turn the ball over there.
Martin's not waiting for anyone. Swings onto his right, kicks truly. And the Tigers have their second goal of the match, and it comes through their superstar, Dustin Martin.
May running around the boundary in the back pocket. Tom Brown goes upstairs. Can't drag in the mark. Had himself a night. Melbourne come away with the footy though. Van Rooyen releases Petrarca through the attacking edge of the square. Turner marks, runs in, and will whack it through. Melbourne go Wooshka and take back the lead. And the man they call Disco thinks it's time to party. Lever picks it up for the D's. Kicks aimlessly into the wing. And the mark taken by Bolton, who wheels and goes inside 50. And Ralph Smith takes a finger tipper. Now goes short. Morris Rioli in front of Martin. He takes the mark, 30 out directly in front.
Shea Bolton to completely change the angle going inside forward 50 to have the vision to see Ralph Smith.
That's the difference between an A grader and a B grader, isn't it? To have that vision.
Morris Rioli Jr. Plum in front, 35 out. His father's son. He draws Richmond back level.
ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 Anzac Day Round.
The sounds of the second quarter is heard on ABC Sport. Richmond lead by a point at half-time, 3-6-24 to Melbourne, 3-5-23. Nothing but A-graders in the commentary box. Matt Clinch alongside Ben Cameron calling all the action. Jess Webster is down on the boundary. Mark Murphy and Adam Romanaskas are your experts on ABC Sport. Bit of an arm wrestle taking place after Melbourne held a narrow lead at quarter time. 3 goals were scored. Richmond had 17 to 11 inside 50s. The Tigers with 2 goals, 3 to Melbourne's 1-2 in that second quarter. Sees the Tigers in front by a point after Dylan Grimes missed after the siren of half-time. Don't forget, of course, tomorrow it's a massive day for the ABC, especially when it comes to Anzac Day. So coverage available on TV, on radio. It starts, of course, with the dawn service, and we will cover all the various services in states and territories, as well as the local marches in towns and cities around Australia. The footy kicks off tomorrow afternoon. We're on air from 2:30 with Corbin Middlemass alongside Kelly Underwood, Mick Moldhouse, Cameron Ling and Tim Hodges. So the match starting at 3:20. There's coverage, of course, of the NRL as well. So that's all on the ABC Listen app. Just look for either the AFL or the NRL button. And if the match in which you're looking for is not on your local radio, just look for the AFL Extra button, because all the matches are covered there. And if the one you're looking for is not on the radio, it's just on the AFL Extra button. And we do have a new AFL podcast as well, ABC AFL Daily with Catherine Murphy and Paul Roos. So keep an eye out for that on the ABC Listen app and wherever you get your podcast from. Murph and Rammer, we spoke about this not being the most attracting of games so far. The battle in the middle between Max Gawn, Toby Nankervis, Sam Naismith. It sort of feels like Max has sort of probably taken the points, but Melbourne really, Murph, haven't been able to capitalise on that dominance around the ground. Have you seen that matchup?
No, they haven't. Like Max has been good without being outstanding so far. So I think Richmond would be happy enough by the way in which they're playing. Nankervis has got his hands on the footy quite a bit, which I think they'll be pretty happy with. Naismith's presenting a good enough target up forward when he has been down there. So I think if they can keep that contest under wraps like they have done so far in that first half for the second half, I think they'll be pretty happy, Richmond.
I think early in the first quarter, I thought Max was looking like, geez, he's going to have a big game here. Yeah. But I think Nankervis has settled right into the game. Naismith's actually been okay in the forward part of the ground. He took a couple of marks inside forward 50 and has given an option. The one that Melbourne need to slow down is Hopper. No doubt about it. Like Hopper, he's actually probably been in that first half the best player on the ground. I would say, just the way he's gone about his work. So how they stop him. But I just think, like, because you look at Oliver's had 15, but he's kicked the ball. He's kicked the ball at 50%. He's had the 3 clearances. Like a lot of Clayton Oliver's balls, just if you pressure him, he's happy to kick the ball straight up in the air. He won't use his hands out of that contest to get a runner in.
He's at his best when he's giving it off and delivering it, but we're not seeing, Viney hasn't had much of the ball. Petrarca's getting tagged by Pickett, so they're not getting a great reward for effort for all of Oliver's possessions. He's had the 3 clearances and 2 tackles, 8 contested possessions. So he's playing well, but they're not getting a lot of bang for buck off that. When they're at their best and Petrarca and Oliver are working hand in hand and they're giving the ball to one another, that's when they're dominant, and they're not quite getting that yet. And I think that's as a result of the contest in the ruck as well. I think it's been pretty even through there as well. So I think that's one area of the game that they'll be wanting to try and expose Richmond in this second half, is by getting some more space around the contest and getting Petrarca more on the fly. Whether they bring him up from a half-forward flank or they try and play a few tricks. It'll be interesting to see how they go about it and whether or not Pickett will be able to try and hang on with him for the majority of this game.
Well, you and I just spoke off air, Murph. Like, Petrarca in the first 5 minutes of this third quarter should take Marlon Pickett on 3 or 4 150-metre sprints, almost goal square to goal square. It might not blow him up now, like to start the quarter, but getting into the back part of the third quarter, the fourth quarter, that's where it might blow him up.
Yeah, it used to, like, sometimes when getting tagged too, you might go, look, I'm going to go hard here for 4 minutes and get off for a minute and then come back on and just go hard again and try and blow someone up who you think you're going to have that aerobic edge over the top of, because as good as Pickett is as a player, he's predominantly more of a wingman, so he's probably not used to that hustle and bustle around the contest from repeated hits and repeated work rate in terms of just getting up from the stoppage and then working hard 100 metres, working back. So that's some part of the game where I think Petrarca can try and get up over the top of him to start this third quarter.
Into the third quarter we go. Richmond by a point. Here's Ben Cameron.
Underway as Gawn wins the tap. Onto it quickly. Hopper doesn't trap it immediately. Shovels it out towards Pickett. His handball knocked away. Dan Rioli there for Richmond. Handball misses Hopper. Hopper tackled by Viney. And still it won't come out, so a ball up in the middle. Now, Rama, just quickly, Richmond lead by a point at half-time. Why is that significant?
Oh, please. Don't be silly.
There was that behind by McDonald. Went through the behind post, came out through the goals. It was a behind.
Hopper tries to get a clearance. It spills the way of Sparrow, who was taken over the shoulder, and we'll get a free kick. Toby Nankervis clumsily, the ruckman getting him over the shoulder. Sparrow with the hand pass away to Rivers, flying off half-back, kicks up towards Eng Langdon. He's just short of half-forward, wheels out on the right-hand side, kicks over the head of Turner, and Nick Glostone takes the mark for the Tigers in the right forward pocket. Interestingly for Melbourne, they have Clayton Oliver, Cozzy Pickett and Jacob Van Rooyen all starting on the bench to start this second half. And Richmond, with their interchange, they're actually running along the boundary line like you'd see at an amateur game of footy to warm up before the third quarter. Kick from Glostone was Dan Rioli. He tried to return it to him. The kick was wide. It bounces out of play. You've missed nothing. It's been a bit of a reflection of what we've seen in the first half.
Now Mitch Turner is a part of our ABC Sport team, running the numbers. He thinks, as it stands at the moment, this is the lowest scoring half between these two sides since 1909. The lowest scoring first half, I should say. Richmond at halfback, flicking a handball away quickly. Marlon Pickett onto it, Howes for the D's. Sweeping handball back to the wing. McVie off a step. High ball inside 50. Pack forms, punching it away. Quickly is Turner, bringing it to ground at half forward for the D's. Martin there to pick it up for Richmond. Handball away to Hopper, spinning out of trouble. Handball back into congestion. Onto it again, though, Dow. And now Richmond run away down the wing.
Ralph Smith gives it away to Shea Bolton. Takes a bounce as he runs the Shane Warne stand side. Back to Ralph Smith. Chips it up towards Naismith. Lever in from the side. Takes the mark and caught one high. Just to the nose of Sam Naismith as he was able to complete the mark with the second bite.
He got the nice one there.
Shea Bolt
just coming the way through.
Running across the contest and did the old slap of the ball, but got Lever's right cheek.
Jake Lever kicks long up to the wing. In front position, the mark is taken by Nick Glostone. He kicks up towards half forward. Spots a free player in Mansell. He's still 75 metres out from goal. Has Naismith and Lafau deep. And now trying to sum up the options. All of a sudden, Banks has pushed forward. Getting back with a flight. Harrison Petty did well. He lands awkwardly. Windsor cleans it up for Melbourne. Petty slow to rise. Hand pass to Billings. Gets it to Windsor. Stripped in the tackle by Banks. Play on's the call. Nankervis' hand pass to Broad. Richmond at half forward. Back to Nankervis. Kick smothered by House. And the footy locked to the chest of the Richmond ruckman.
I think he's got an almighty corky out of that, Harrison Petty.
Or on the lower back or hip pointer, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, on the hip.
It's a good limp, isn't it? As he runs past the contest. Gawn wins the tap. Hopper quickly onto it. Snaps inside 50 for Richmond. Lever the first to arrive and bundled out there in the pocket by Naismith and gives away a free kick.
Well, they're no good corkies, but everyone's got a real tender spot for a corky, and yeah, mine was just below the hip. I got it a couple of times there, and no good for a few days.
Just run it out?
Nah, no running. Like they used to try and massage it out.
White flag up for Rama.
Yeah, that was the end.
Howes around the outer side for Melbourne to Langdon. Works it up to Turner.
Hey, bloke's missed 3 weeks with corkies now.
Kicked his first goal in AFL footy earlier in the match. Daniel Turner, he looks inside 50. Gawn's gone forward. Competes against Broad and Nankervis. Spills it down to the front. Neil Bullen trying to get a hand pass to Chandler, who now becomes the tackler. And locks the ball up just short of left half forward for Melbourne. The Tigers by a point. 3-6-24 to Melbourne 3-5-23. 4 minutes gone, third quarter. Here's Ben Cameron.
Anzac Eve on ABC Sport. Score as it was at the half. Clearing kick from Dow up to a contest on the wing, and McDonald marks there for the D's. Comes infield to Lever. Nothing he likes initially. And just hold it up for the time being. Every player on the ground in front of him goes short to Howes. Still inside the centre square, virtually on line with the centre line. He'll go short again, closer to the bullseye, and Rivers, who stabs it short, looking for Langdon. Straight through his hands at Burst. Onto it, Naismith loses it. Quickly picking it up. Here's Turner, gives it back to Lever. He'll kick to half forward, and Billings can come up and mark. High half forward for the D's.
He's about 75 metres out from goal, Jack Billings, as he looks inside 50. Petrarca on the lead. Great kick to him as he ran into the vacant space and takes the mark in front of Marlon Pickett, who could do nothing but watch on. And Petrarca has it out to the right. He'll have to kick from just outside 50.
Well, that's where Jake Billings can be a really good pickup for Melbourne, because he's a classy ball user. So he's got to really work that half forward flank really hard, be a player that gets the ball 50 to 70 out and always be that link player, because he's smart, he's composed, he knows how to use the footy.
10 disposals for Christian Petrarca tonight. Melbourne's only ever Norm Smith medalist, looking for his best here. Out to the right, he comes in and sets flight. It's towards the left goalpost and offline. Max Gawn on the behind line. Takes the mark, much to the frustration of Toby Nankervis, who has his hands on his hip. He can't believe it. And Max Gawn's only metres out from goal, but hard against the left behind post.
Yeah, big Toby just got lost in traffic there. I just don't know how he wasn't standing right near him to make a contest of that, but elected to come from deep and just got caught in amongst all the players.
The Melbourne captain just needs to think his way through. Step out, snap. He's got 2 Richmond players waiting to charge at him. Gawn steps to the right, snaps on his right, puts it through. And the Demons strike first in the third quarter to take back the lead. 6 minutes gone on ABC Sport. Melbourne by 5 points. 4-5-29 to Richmond 3-6-24. And Melbourne's inspirational captain looking to get involved.
I like that from Petrarca. So, easily when Billings takes the mark, Petrarca could have just stood at the 50-metre line and accepted Pickett as his direct opponent. But he takes Pickett deep and then leads at the football. And that's where, Pickett hasn't played that role there as a defender. It's a tricky role to play when you're playing on a quick forward to try to spoil the ball. And I think Pickett found out how tricky that can be if Petrarca is to continue to do that in this game.
We continue our goal-for-goal run. Melbourne with 4 and Richmond 3 in between. Gawn takes it out of the ruck, gets it on the boot, dribbles it forward. Coming through Cozzy Pickett. Marlon Pickett pinches it. Back feeds a handball to Broad. Richmond at centre-half back. Running back into his D50. Flares it out towards half-back. On the flank, it bounces up for Ralph Smith. Handball to Vlosten. Still on the half-back flank. Goes with the outside of the boot up towards the wing. Marking contest for May. Spoiling it down Mansell. Now McVie under pressure. Wrapped up and taken to ground. A ball up to come. Jess Webster between the benches.
Harrison Petty came to the bench looking very sore after that corky, but he had a wry smile on his face. He's been walking it off along the boundary line. He's popped a couple of painkillers. So no white flag for Harrison Petty tonight. He'll be back out there soon.
Thanks, Jess. Nankervis down to Hopper. Couldn't get a clean hand pass away. Clayton Oliver just bombs it up to half forward. It bounces end over end and out of play. And the umpire's going to say insufficient intent. It's pretty crazy to think that I don't think he was looking to kick that close to the boundary line. Do you agree, Murph?
I think if you kick the ball and it doesn't land within 5 metres of your teammate and it's between the arcs, they're just going to pay it.
Yep.
That's just what they do there. I know we're laughing.
You're not taking no skiller up, Murph?
Oh, well.
Hit the target.
Hit the target.
Yeah, correct.
Learn the hard way.
Yeah, fair enough. Pressure of the elite game. Tyler Young turns it straight over with his kick back up the wing, and Tom McDonald takes the mark for Melbourne under the Shane Warne stand of the MCG. The Demons by 5 points. McDonald looks inboard, finds Max Gawn. He couldn't hang on to the mark. Baker trying to break the tackle of Oliver. Spills the way of Langdon of Melbourne. Kicks inside 50. Turner lunging forward takes the mark. In the left forward pocket, about 5 metres in from the boundary. It's a tough shot, but he'll shoot from about 50 metres out.
Just a scrappy kick.
Yeah.
Turner was in front. Good pressure by Oliver. Then Langdon, just a scrappy kick, and yeah, good forward play. That's where you want your forwards to take that front position. Try and mark the ball. The 22-year-old who's out of contract at season's end in his 4th year, finally getting to play his 4th game. Has a goal already from his 4 disposals. Out to the left, Daniel Turner comes in, sets flight. It's a great kick, and through it goes. Finger up to the air to celebrate with the Melbourne fans to kick his 2nd. And it's Turner time at the MCG. The Demons by 11 points at the opening 2 goals of the 3rd quarter through 9 minutes. The Demons 5-5-35 to Richmond 3-6-24 on ABC Sport. You with Adam Ramanauskas and Mark Murphy.
Yeah, well, it's only 11 points the difference, but you can already feel the momentum of the game really starting to shift towards Melbourne. So the next goal in this game is just crucial that Richmond find a way to wrestle the game back on their terms, get the ball forward, get a few lock-in forward half stoppages that you can try and reset the game again. But at the moment, it wasn't anything pretty, as you said, Raymond. It was just more of a hazard ball going forward, but you just feel that Melbourne are starting to get the game on their terms a little bit, especially around the contest.
Yeah, well, 6 inside 50s to 2 this quarter in Melbourne's favour, so only 2 inside 50s in the 10 minutes for the Tigers.
Great to have you with us on Anzac Eve on ABC Sport. Going down to Oliver to Pickett, coughs it up. Here go Richmond. Mansell to Graham. Gives it back to Mansell. Kicks for Martin. Can't take the mark. Bursting onto it, Hopper. Back feeds a handball to Martin at half forward. Shrugs a tackle. Handball to Graham. Shanks his kick. Goes towards Naismith though. Tries to take on the tackler. Does so successfully to get a handball away. Brown now under pressure. Melbourne swarming. And a ball up to come. Half forward here for Richmond. Melbourne lead by 11 points. First time tonight we've had back-to-back goals, and Daniel Turner, the first multiple goal kicker with a couple.
It was a good set shot as well. Gawn was held in the ruck battle. He'll get the free kick against Sam Naismith. Has it right half back. The Melbourne captain in the middle of the ground. It was a great kick. He spots Jake Lever. Weighted his kick to his advantage. Hand pass missed Viney though. It ricochets off Baker into the middle of the ground. Lafau puts his head over the footy. Tackled by Woden. Hand pass picked off by Lever. Baker wins it back though for Richmond. Hand pass to Brown. Kicks an up and under kick to Shea Bolton at half forward. May spoils it down for Melbourne. Chandler to Rivers. Almost run down. Just got it away at the last moment. Clayton Oliver for Melbourne. Out to Langdon on the Shane Warne stand wing. Kicks out towards Van Rooyen at half forward. Reaching across. Young gets a hand onto it and spoils it out of play. Left half forward for the Demons. Melbourne by 11 points. 12 minutes gone. Third term on ABC Sport.
Big Maxi Gawn's really asserted himself on the contest in this third quarter. And how about the confidence of the ruckman just to go pin the ears back and go for the 45 kick in the middle of the ground. Great confidence.
No ruckman here for Melbourne. Naismith takes it out of the ruck, gives it to Dow. His kick around the boundary. Baker onto it. Taken high in the tackle by Viney. No, says the umpire. Lets them play close to the line. Ball up.
It's got to be a high tackle.
It's got to either be high or he tried to duck out of the tackle.
Yeah, it's a high tackle or it's holding the ball.
I think he tried to slip underneath it, didn't he?
Melbourne beginning to win the arm wrestle here. A non-call there in the ruck. Van Rooyen onto it quickly though. Dow again for Richmond. Gives it off to Brown, who gives it to Graham. Lateral kick into the middle. Sets a task for Banks. Halves the contest. Goes again at ground level. He wraps up Billings. Billings tries to go for a walk. The umpire holds his arms to his chest. Ball up half forward for Richmond. Melbourne leading by 11 points. Anzac Eve on ABC Sport.
Thrown in the air, Van Rooyen doing the ruck work against Naismith. Naismith slaps it down towards the 50, but it's Windsor for Melbourne who gathers. Hand pass away to Howes. Kicks up the members' wing. Fritsch in a wrestle with Grimes. Grimes can't reel in the mark. Turner for Melbourne. Hand pass to Billings. Hand pass missed Fritsch just in behind him. He gathers. Swings on his left. Kicks into the middle of the ground for Clayton Oliver. Now he's got Billings in the right forward pocket, but he's looking more central than that. Van Rooyen in the ruck. He marks it centre half forward. Pokes the kick for Turner. Was it 15? It was. He takes the mark directly in front, 45 metres out from goal.
Well, it's amazing what happens when you have strong work rate, and Melbourne found some options there because there was more players who were willing to run into space and create some options for one another. So the Richmond defenders didn't know where the ball was necessarily going to go. Clinchy talked about Billings, who had worked really hard from the contest to provide an option in the forward pocket. Because he did that, there was other space that was in through the corridor. Smart ball movement.
Daniel Turner has 2 goals, 1 from his 6 disposals. He's auditioning right in front of us. He's proved a pretty good set shot. Directly in front, looking to extend Melbourne's lead. Turner for back-to-back goals. Close to the man on the mark, but straight through it goes. Daniel Turner, having not kicked a goal in AFL footy before tonight, now has 3. And they've all come in this third quarter. All come in this last 2 quarters, I should say, 2 of which have come in this third quarter. Melbourne by 17 points, 6-5-41 to Richmond 3-6-24. The Demons have broken open this game at the 14-minute mark of the third term.
I think what we do know about Daniel Turner, Murph, is he's a celebrator.
Certainly is.
Yeah, he gets excited when he kicks a goal, but
are we talking sort of Tom Papley sort of levels?
Oh, it's up there.
We like that, don't we? I mean, Josh Rochelle said during the week that he was going to tone down his celebrations. We like the celebrators.
Yeah, Matt Owings is another one from Carlton who he kicks goals from 25 out in front and celebrates.
I think
they spark a bit of energy, right?
Yeah, it does a little bit, but not just a little bit less carry on.
I've got questions about this. In the middle, Martin in there for Richmond. Break glass in case of emergency. Here goes Petrarca out of the middle. Feeds Cozzy Pickett. Room to snap. It's the fat part of the footy and misses the lot. Out of bounds on the full.
Probably had more time.
By 17.
Probably had more time than Cozzy to hit it properly and take an extra half a second to snap it. But
step inside.
Yeah, just do a little bit of razzle-dazzle that he's got plenty of.
What was your go-to celebration, Rama?
Just a little fist.
Little fist bump.
Go to my teammates and celebrate with my teammates.
I reckon you would have run to the crowd.
No chance.
Brought it in the pocket from Miller, lost it. Cozzy Pickett swoops, swings on, opens the angle and makes them pay. Pickett at his electric best. And the Tigers defence, the left picking themselves up off the floor. Melbourne all of a sudden have gone bang, bang, bang. 4 goals in quick succession. And they're out by 24 points. 7-6-48 to Richmond 3-6-24. You can't make that sort of mistake with Cozzy Pickett lurking.
Yeah, Murph, that's 4 goals in 10 minutes now. And those forward half turnovers if you can create those. Because he's been sort of teasing today with his game, and now just the last couple of little moments he's been involved in a few passages of play here. So Nathan Broad there, it's good.
He's found some energy off Turner, I
just
reckon.
a poor handball by Miller there.
Yeah.
Just didn't hit the target to Nathan Broad, and because he's just there at ground level, so
he worried them out of it, didn't he?
Oh, but that's poor execution by Miller. Well, that's a 2-metre handball.
Yep.
Gawn delivering it down with the ruck tap away to Petrarca. Handball to Oliver. Wrapped up quickly. Marlon Pickett blanketing him. Yeah, the ball up to come. Just forward of halfway for the D's. Ozzie Pickett, of course, back from suspension. Marlon Pickett winning the tap. Rivers able to mop it up for Melbourne. Handball to Viney. Handball to Woden. Whistle in there somewhere. Free kick will come back and go to Rivers. So 4 goals unanswered away at Melbourne in this third term. 3 goals apiece in the first half. That's the break in the game. Oliver gets around Morris Rioli Jr. Long kick to full forward. Petty at the back nearly marks. Feeds Petrarca. Snap misses. Melbourne really beginning to open it up. They're out by 25. 17 and a half into the third term. Anzac Eve on ABC.
They've tidied up their kicking efficiency. Sorry, Benny. They're going at 71% this quarter. Richmond at 41%.
Yeah. Well, they're working harder and they're creating more options for one another. So it's easier to hit targets when there's more of them.
Yeah. Inside 50s a 9-3 as well. Dan Rioli brings Richmond back into play. Long kick to the wing. Lafau couldn't take the mark. Tom McDonald tried to brust his way through traffic. Lost it. Hopper gathers. He might have done a hamstring there. Gets it to Shea Bolton. Kicks inside 50. Morris Rioli Jr. mark. Just got to kick away as Rivers off a chase. And it's all smiles as he puts through his second. Well, there was a nervous moment there as Rivers closed on him late. And didn't Richmond need that? Their first goal since Morris Rioli Jr. scored at the 22-minute mark of the second quarter. One against the trend after Melbourne had kicked 4 consecutive goals. The Demons lead cut back to 19, 7-7-49 to Richmond 4-6-30. 18 minutes gone, third term on ABC Sport.
Yeah, it looks like was it Hoppy you called?
Yeah.
Clinchy, he's just jogged off with a pretty
kick the drink bottles.
Yeah, severe limp running off the ground. So that's a pretty big hamstring you would have thought when you pull up like that and run straight off the ground. So
he'd missed since round 1 with a knee injury, so missed the last 4. Jess Webster on the boundary.
Yeah, he came to the bench looking visibly distressed. As you mentioned, he kicked the benches and then went straight down to the rooms of the physio. So it does appear to be a significant injury for Jacob Hopper. I'll let you know when I have more information.
Yeah, rotten luck for Jacob Hopper.
What a good game.
Petrarca with the clearance from Melbourne towards half-water. Bouncing ball. Bounces into the awaiting arms of Windsor. It's a handball away. Richmond are there to chop it off, though. Dow. Handball to Dan Rioli, who shows the footy and runs away from them. Runs along the defensive edge of the square. Now kicks into the middle of the ground. Baker clean pick-up. He'll turn and look inside Richmond's 50. Goes just short of it. Bolton marks 52 out. Now he looks inside 50. What can Shea muster? Nothing he likes initially. Richmond with a little surge here. He'll wheel around and kick it long and well wide out of bounds on the full. Adam Ramanaskas, Mark Murphy, what do you think of that?
That's almost hard to do, to kick it that far out of bounds on the full. It's just got to be better than that.
Well, he was never going to make the distance, so that's unforgivable, really.
Such a good player, he's just got to be better than that.
Sometimes you just got to play the percentages. Go to the top of the square, give your other forwards a bit of a chance.
Stephen May to Tajwo Woden. Kicks up to Billings, who marks at right half back. Melbourne by 19 points. They've kicked 4 goals to 1 in this third quarter. Spots Neil Bullen on the members' wing. He takes the mark. In front of Thompson Dow. Hand pass to the runner Billings. Through the middle of the ground. On the bounce for Chandler. He left it behind. Dan Rioli gathers for Richmond. Hand pass to Campbell. Corralled by Rivers. Kicks out wide of Shea Bolton. He gathers in front of Tom McDonald. Looks up to half forward. Pokes the kick towards Naismith. Lever reaches over the top and makes the spoil. Not the best decision from Shea Bolton there.
Well, he should have taken McDonald on. Really, Tom McDonald was trying to corral him.
It's the last thing you want if you're Tom McDonald seeing Shea Bolton in a 1v1 contest out in the wing. You don't want him to take yardage and take you on, do you?
The rucks go for a little waltz. Gawn gets rid of Naismith, takes it out of the ruck. Handball to Sparrow. Handball around the wing for Chandler. Waits for it to sit. Now he's gang tackled. Slithers free. Handball away to Sparrow. He drops it. Now towards Langdon it goes over the boundary line. And a throw-in on the wing. It's a special night, Anzac Eve, here on ABC Sport. Melbourne by 19. Jess Webster.
Richmond has wasted no time activating its subs, so Jacob Hopper done for the match with a hamstring injury. Camden McIntosh comes into the game.
Thanks, Jess. Hayley Laurie is the sub for the Demons, yet to be used. Thrown back in. Gawn taps it down to the front. Ralph Smith for the Tigers gathers, kicks a spiralling ball up towards half forward over the head of Nankervis. Tom McDonald tracks back after it, missed Lever with a hand pass. Still a chance for the Tigers, trying to toe poke it forward. Mansell got it to Shea Bolton advantage, kicks long towards the teeth of goal. Melbourne have the numbers. House and May, it's House who takes the mark despite Morris Rioli Jr. closing late.
Free
kick or
out of bounds? Out of bounds. I think.
Out of bounds.
Shea Bolton kick, I suppose.
Yep, probably not a bad result for the Tigers. The boundary umpire there on point.
Yep, definitely out of bounds.
So the ball will come back to right half forward for the Tigers. Melbourne by 19 points. 22 minutes gone, third quarter on ABC Sport. Here's Ben Cameron.
Umpire to bring it back in. Unfurls. Gawn lays it down to the front onto it. Thompson Dow. Handball for Baker. Misses in. Allows in Viney. Has it at half back for the D's. Kicks up to the wing. Van Rooyen going up. Can't mark. Ralph Smith roves the pack for the Tigers. Gives it off to Dan Rioli. Short of Loston on the logo. Southern side of the ground. Richmond in possession but trailing by 19. Ralph Smith short to Grimes. Grimes will go right back to centre half back. Mark taken by Rord out there, who moves it to Martin. Backward of the logo on the members' side.
Dusty plays on, kicks up towards Morris Rioli Jr. in from the side. Tom McDonald and Stephen May spoil it down. Lafau was taken high and will win the free kick. As he's lying with his back on the turf.
Copped a good one there.
And
purely accidental by Stephen May.
Stephen May got him to the back of the neck, and the New Zealander is a little slow to rise as the doctor's coming out now to check he is okay. Concern would be his neck given the tackle. Or maybe his shoulder.
Got him in the head, I reckon, first with his hip, May, and just almost ragdolled him a little bit.
Looks like he's got a little dead arm. He's sort of shaking it out.
Trying to stretch out the right arm. And here the round of applause from the Richmond fans in the Olympic stand in front of McKelty Lafau. New Zealand born. Came over to Australia as part of the Melbourne Storm development squad. Here he is playing on Anzac Eve, and from 53, it's not a bad effort, it's across the face. Shea Bolton had a good piece of it, couldn't hang on, and it goes through from behind. A half a second thought he had the distance, then for the next, thought Shea Bolton is going to take an incredible mark. Melbourne by 18 points.
Looks like a real find, Lafau, doesn't he? Rivers in the back pocket for the D's, up to the wing with his kick. Mark taken by Brown. Hasman on in the middle. That's where he heads with his kick. Graham takes it. Sends it out wide again. Here's Miller. He'll drive it long into the pocket, looking for a mark. Lafau from the side. Off hands and out of play. Throwing to come Stephen May. With some strong direct feedback for Jake Lever. 4:50 stoppage for Richmond.
He's certainly got some athletic prowess, doesn't he? Lafau, like he's aerobically strong and powerful. Looks to have some good footy smarts as well.
He's doing the ruck work here with Gawn. Gawn goes to ground. Lafau brings it boundary side. Now he's got to follow up. Pretty happy for the line is McVie. Covered more ground than anyone out there tonight. McKelty Lafau. 10.8 kilometres. Down by 3 goals Richmond. They kicked the last. Before that Melbourne with 4 unanswered.
Toss back in. Gawn doing the ruck work against Lafau. Spills down the way of Baker. Put his lock to his chest and the umpire will pull it up.
That's outstanding by Lafau, because Stephen May would hate that. Well, he doesn't want to be running 10 kilometres in a game.
Gawn tries to knock it clear. Shea Bolton charging through. May was taken high. Footy will come back to him despite Melbourne getting the kick away.
So no doubt that's a directive from Adamuze. Look, try work Stephen May over. Hit up at the ball. Boys, if you see Lafau on the lead, kick the ball to him.
And of course, some fractures to the ribs, Stephen May, only a few weeks ago, so no doubt still playing through a bit of pain as he kicks out to Ed Langdon, who marks in the left back pocket. Melbourne by 18 points. 26 minutes gone, third term. Kicks along up to the wing. Grimes is in the pack. Miller made the spoil as well. It spills to Vloston. His kick was smothered by Sparrow. Marlon Pickett charging through, turns it over. Turner, he turns it over. Hand pass picked off by Dan Rioli. Swings onto his right-hand side centre wing. Kicks up towards Lafau. Almost takes the mark. Mantle with a hand pass forward to Shea Bolton against the boundary. Kicks end over end. Late Jake Lever's waiting for it. Hand pass over his top. Away from Morris Rioli Jr. And then Baker came charging in, laid the bump on Rivers. Not before he got the kick out of defence. And Melbourne have worked it through McVie up to Billings.
Done it really well, the D's. Under pressure there. Billings' short kick just gets to Sparrow. And Campbell closing late. Sparrow stabs it to Windsor. In front of the interchange gates. Melbourne by 18 points. 2.5 minutes away from three-quarter time. Windsor kicks around the members' wing. Up goes Fritsch. Threw his hands out the back. Onto it, Petrarca. Handball to Billings. Handball chopped off by Grimes. Richmond at halfback. Handball away to Graham. Handball to Rioli. Trying to bounce it up to the wing. Rioli will kick for McIntosh. He takes the mark alongside the logos. Has players running towards 50.
Lafau from one direction. Tom McDonald from the other. And the New Zealand takes the mark. Swings onto his right. Shea Bolton and Martin are forward. Lever and May in from the side. They spoil each other. Ed Langdon comes rushing back in. Taps it away from Dusty. Ralph Smith swoops into it. Hand pass over his shoulder to Martin. One way, then the other. Tries to centre it. Good option. Thompson Dow takes the mark. And the Tigers are trying to lift here in the third quarter. And a crucial kick coming up for Thompson Dow, directly in front, 40 metres out.
Lafau, again, that was outstanding. That was a mark in between three Melbourne players where he just leapt at the ball and
he looked like he was going to get crunched, but just absolutely leapt it at highest point.
Then plays on and off he goes. I like him.
I really like him.
I'm
10 minutes.
I'm sold.
The 50-year Tiger from Swan Hill, Thompson Dow, looking for just his second goal in AFL footy, playing his 24th game. A big kick for the Tigers. He comes in, steers it right at the right goalpost and slams into it. Golden opportunity goes begging for the Tigers. Adam Uze takes another big gulp of water. Melbourne lead by 17 points. The Demons with 4-1 in this third quarter through 28 minutes.
Yeah, it's a real shame for Thompson Dow. Then he's had a really good game tonight. He's shown a bit. He's got a great step. Used the ball really well. Would have really sparked some energy in his Richmond teammates to kick that one.
Can they find another one before three-quarter time? Well, Woden running off halfback. He kicks forward of the logo. Off the hands of the pack. Out the back it goes. High free kick. It'll go to Turner.
That's silly by Nankervis. Didn't need to do that.
Turner will look towards full forward. Out the back. Petty juggles it. Doesn't complete it. Getting involved, Vloston slaps it out. Gawn in the pocket. Tries to get a handball to Neil Bullen. Kick smothered. Back to Gawn. Now Cozzy Pickett. A wizard from the pocket. It hits the post out of all of that, or does it? Umpire says no. Play on. Still in the pocket. Richmond under pressure. And Ralph Smith will clear.
Kicks up towards half-back. It's over the head of Campbell. Lever tried to fend off the chase. Swings onto his right-hand side. Inside 50. Gawn and Pickett. Nankervis getting back for the Tigers. The captain takes the mark. He turns it over. Missed the intended target. Dan Rioli and Windsor slides in. Takes the mark in the right forward pocket.
No, I don't think he missed the target. I think that's who he was going for. Glitchy. Critical. Oh,
just didn't see it.
Just didn't see Caleb Windsor flying through.
He's lightning fast, Windsor.
Pick 7 in the draft last year from the Eastern Rangers. Showing his speed on display there. And this would be a hammer blow after the three-quarter time siren in the right forward pocket, 25 metres out. Caleb Windsor starts his approach, comes in and slams it through the middle. Melbourne finish off a 5-1 third quarter. And Caleb Windsor, who's putting his hand up for a Rising Star nominee, finishes after the three-quarter time siren. Melbourne by 23 points heading into the final term. 8-7-55 to Richmond 4-8-32. For the Demons, 3 goals to Daniel Turner, 2 of which came in that third quarter. Individuals to Pickett, Fritsch, Van Rooyen and Windsor. While for the Tigers, their goals have come through Martin, Dan Rioli, Martin, 2 goals to Morris Rioli, I should say, Dustin Martin and Lafau. Three-quarter time at the MCG. Anzac Eve, Melbourne leading by 23 points. Great to have your company on ABC Sport.
Time to steady and pull the trigger.
Tackle your week with the ABC AFL Daily Podcast. Join myself, Catherine Murphy, AFL legend Paul Roos and expert panellists every day to get the latest news, game analysis and insights straight from the field.
The way the rules are now, you're not allowed to brace yourself and hit someone in the head in a marking contest.
Tune in to stay ahead of the game and get your daily dose of footy fever. Find the ABC AFL Daily Podcast on the ABC Listen app.
The 2024 Anzac Day Round.
On your radio.
Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Well, it's only ever Norm Smith medalist looking for his best here. Out to the right, he comes in and sets flight. It's towards the left goalpost and offline. Max Gawn on the behind line. Takes the mark, much to the frustration of Toby Nankervis, who has his hands on his hip. He can't believe it. The Melbourne captain just needs to think his way through. Step out, snap. He's got two Richmond players waiting to charge at him. Gawn steps to the right, snaps on his right, puts it through. And the Demons strike first in the third quarter to take back the lead. Spills the way of Langdon and Melbourne. Kicks inside 50. Turner, lunging forward, takes the mark. The 22-year-old who's out of contract at season's end in his fourth year, finally getting to play his fourth game. Has a goal already from his four disposals. Out to the left, Daniel Turner comes in, sets flight. It's a great kick, and through it goes. Finger up to the air to celebrate with the Melbourne fans to kick his second. And it's Turner time at the MCG. Van Rooyen in the ruck. He marks it centre-half forward. Hopes the kick for Turner. He's proved a pretty good set shot. Directly in front, looking to extend Melbourne's lead. Turner for back-to-back goals. Close to the man on the mark, but straight through it goes. Daniel Turner, having not kicked a goal in AFL footy before tonight, now has three. Brought into the pocket, but Miller lost it. Cosy Pickett swoops, swings on, opens the angle and makes the pay. Pickett is electric best. And the Tigers defence, the left picking themselves up off the floor. Melbourne all of a sudden have gone bang, bang, bang. 4 goals in quick succession, and they're out by 24 points. Tom McDonald tried to thrust his way through traffic, lost it. Hopper gathers. He might have done a hamstring there. Gets it to Shea Bolton, kicks inside 50. Boris Rowley Jr. mark, just got a kick away as Rivers off a chase. And it's all smiles as he puts through his second. Well, there was a nervous moment there as Rivers closed on him late. And didn't Richmond need that?
Yeah, it looks like there's a Hoppy you called, jogged off for a pretty kick for
Drink
severe,
bottles.
Yeah, severe limp running off the ground. So that's a pretty big hamstring, you would have thought.
Richmond has wasted no time activating its sub, so Jacob Hopper done for the match with a hamstring injury. Camden McIntosh comes into the game.
ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 Anzac Day Round.
The Demons with 5 goals to 1 in that third quarter. Having trailed by a point at half-time, they lead by 23 points at three-quarter time. And Daniel Turner potentially proving some of the answers to Simon Goodwin's woes in the forward 50, has 3 goals next to his name. And unfortunately for Tigers fans, Jacob Hopper is out of the match with a hamstring injury. Matt Clinch and Ben Cameron calling the action. Jess Webster down on the boundary. Adam Ramanauskas and Mark Murphy are your experts on ABC Sport.
Yeah, well, they got to work then, Melbourne, especially in the centre of the ground. Max Gawn had a real influence. They started to get their game going with Petrarca and Oliver starting to work hand in hand again. But their work from clearances certainly gave them greater opportunities looking inside 50. And I think their work rate really picked up, especially the first 20 minutes of that quarter. They had the momentum, but they were running on top of the ground. They were providing lots of options for one another. And then, therefore, their skills are easier to hit. When there's more options to see, it's easier to hit them. So I think they started to work a lot harder than compared to Richmond. Richmond had their opportunities late in that quarter. Thompson Dow had an opportunity to get back within a couple of kicks, but unfortunately for Richmond, he hit the post, and then they went straight down the other end off a Nankervis skill error. It was almost the beginning of the quarter where Nankervis wasn't matched up next to Max Gawn, where he took that mark right on the line, Rama, which sort of got the momentum in Melbourne's favour, and they started going from there. So it just shows the importance of getting those basics right. He should have been right up against Max Gawn, made it really hard, just punch it through. At that stage of the quarter, it would have been only a couple of points in it, but that was almost the catalyst for Melbourne getting their game up and going.
Yeah, it's just that. It's the moments that you switch off in games, like particularly if you're a younger team, which Richmond are at the moment with the injuries that they've sustained. You've got to be concentrating and focused at all times. Melbourne cleaned up their kicking efficiency that quarter. They ended up kicking the ball at 74%. So, that's a 20% improvement on the second quarter. And that clearly shows on the scoreboard, 5 goals to 1. They controlled the tempo of that quarter through marks, 34-18. But I thought the key to that quarter for Melbourne was Richmond just allowing Jake Lever to be loose across half-back. He needs a direct opponent. He had eight possessions in that quarter, 3 marks. So he was just doing it too easy, and it's become a real nuisance for the Richmond forwards and team.
Adam Romanascus and Mark Murphy, your experts on ABC Sport. Melbourne start the final term, 23 points to the good of Richmond. It's Shea Bolton who gets the first clearance for Richmond. Hand pass away to Baker. Drives it over the head of Lafau. Back with the flight. Almost took the mark against Tom McDonald. Charging through Graham. Can't gather. Lever's hand pass straight to McIntosh of Richmond. Lafau through traffic. Got it to Dustin Martin. He tries to knock it back to Banks. Back to Martin. Outside 50 for the Tigers. Centering kick to Dan Rioli. He marks at the edge of the centre square.
Can Richmond mount a charge early? They trail by 23 points. Dan Rioli runs around. Kicks as long as he can. It'll go to the goal square. Lafau down there. Punched away by McDonald. Loose footy at the top of the goal square. Getting involved, Naismith. Spits out towards the boundary line. Langdon kicks it straight up and down, and then May takes it out. So a throw in to come. Deep in the left forward pocket here for the Tigers. Anzac Eve on ABC Sport. Round 7 at the MCG. Stick with us for the next 24 hours. It's a big period on the ABC, wherever you are. Gawn slaps it away. Straight to Langdon, who gives it off to Woden. High for a kick. Langdon to have it in the back pocket. Adam Ramanascus, Mark Murphy, our experts, Matt Clinch and myself, Ben Cameron, and Jess Webster between the benches.
On the SMS 0437 774 774. Michael says, great call, guys. In my room in Bangkok, coming through loud and clear. Go D's. Martin from Windsor says there's only one disco, Michael Roach.
Yeah, that's true.
Pick up to the wing in the direction of Turner and Van Rooyen. It's spoiled out of play. No. Kept alive by Thompson Dow, and he chips it backwards to Dan Rioli, who marks centre wing on the southern side. Veers out to the right, kicks long in the direction of Sam Naismith, who takes the mark. That's a good set of hands in front of Jack Lever. He marks just inside 50, out to the left. He sends it long to the teeth of goal. Lafau's there, in from the side. Ralph Smith had a good piece of it, couldn't hang on. And Windsor steps it through for a minor score. Melbourne by 22 points. 2 minutes gone, final term.
I feel like they need the first goal of this final term, Richmond. Can they muster it? May with the kick in. Stabs it short to Viney. Viney runs away. Kicks up to the wing, looking for Van Rooyen. Off his hands. Gawn the rover. Advantage paid to the D's. Handball to Cozzy Pickett. Sparrow nearly run down by Morris Rioli Jr. His kick gets to half forward. Chandler onto it. Handball to Windsor. In amongst a pack of Tigers. Gets a handball away. Inside 50 now for Melbourne. Graham picks it up. Handball to Dow. Through traffic. Back feeds a handball away to Baker.
Baker looks to the outer wing. The kick missed Banks. He races after it. Taps it to his own advantage against Howes. Careful not to give away the free kick, and then worked him underneath it. Howes for Melbourne. Gets the hand pass away to Ed Langdon. Kicks the Sparrow. Coming the other way, Broad. Broad makes the spoil. Charges through Viney. Hand pass over the top to McIntosh. At left half forward. Looks inside 50. Bolton the target. Takes the mark. Deep in the left forward pocket. Had the mismatch on Tom McDonald and was able to lose him in the forward 50. And the Tigers need a spark of Bolton magic. Swings onto his right, and right on cue sends it straight through the middle. The Tigers with the first goal of the final term through 3 minutes. And Shea Bolton tries to spark them to life. 5-9-39 to Melbourne, 8-7-55 on ABC Sport. You're with Mark Murphy and Adam Ramanascus.
Well, a couple of Richmond defenders take a bow. Dylan Grimes, the first one, who I think Melbourne would have scored if he didn't come off his man at absolute pace and force a turnover. And then Broad again on the far wing. Melbourne again had the outnumber and then looked to use the ball inside, but he just read the play. Rather than stay back and be safe on your opponent, he just came forward at a rate of knots and made the intercept. And that's how they get a goal, is on the back of their two key defenders just playing great team-first football.
Richmond haven't been able to overturn a three-quarter time deficit this season from 4 attempts, and On the other side of things, the 3 times Melbourne have led at the final change, they've won all of them. Gawn flicking the tap down. Thompson Dow trying to get it moving forward for Richmond, though. Affects a handball, though, from Sparrow. It comes down towards Baker. He squeezes a kick out towards half forward. Lever flicks it up. Might have been a throw. It was. Free kick to Ralph Smith. The pendulum of the match at the moment, belonging to the yellow and black. Ralph Smith at right half forward. Looking at a congested 50. Sets it up to the hot spot. Lafau goes up, punched away from him. Oliver coming through, gathers the footy, gets rid of a handball. It comes back to him. Handball away to Laurie. His kick ricochets out towards Pickett. Handball goes to Lafau. Half forward Brown. Left foot kick to full forward. So he's gone there at fullback. And he takes the mark at fullback for Melbourne.
Max Gawn into the pocket for Lever, who gathers on the bounce. Looks up towards Bailey, Fritsch and Grimes. Grimes over the top. Surely made contact in the back. No free kick. Petrarca for Melbourne. Hand pass back up to Fritsch on the wing. Knocks it onto the advantage of Laurie. A shove in the back as he got his kick forward to Petty. And he'll take the free kick at left half forward. Harrison Petty. No, it's going to come back. So it looks like Melbourne have made the sub there with Jess Webster in just a moment. We're getting suggestions it could be Caleb Windsor on our monitor. But Bailey Laurie is into the match and he's going to get the free kick centre wing.
Jess Webster downstairs.
Yeah, you're right, guys. They have made this sub. So Caleb Windsor has come to the bench. I'm just chasing up whether or not that's a tactical or an injury sub they've made, but Bailey Laurie has checked into the game.
Thanks, Jess. And work it. The D's out towards Howes. Through centre wing. On the southern side, he stabs it short to Langdon. Melbourne leading by 16 points. Anzac Eve here on ABC Sport. Short kick away to Turner. What a performance from him. Goalless in his previous 3 AFL matches. First game of the season, he's booted 3. Sends the Demons inside 50 here. Nankervis out points Gawn to mark. In the left back pocket, has been dodgy kicking inside D50, but spots up Baker, who brings it Members side.
Out to Seth Campbell, who marks it right half back for the Tigers. Melbourne by 16 points to Morris Rioli Jr. In from the side, Sparrow makes the spoil for Melbourne. Gets it to Woden. Hand pass to House. Can go back to Sparrow on the wing. Members side, swings on his right, turns it straight over to Toby Nankervis. Can they counter here, Richmond? Hand pass to Baker through the middle of the ground of Lawston. Swings it out to the outer side where McIntosh can mark on his chest. Now where to? As Dustin Martin deep in the pocket, turns and comes inboard to Young. He's still between wing and half forward. Tyler Young with a driving kick. Mansell's pushed forward. He flies in the air against Campbell. It spills down. Great work by Sparrow lunging in. May over the top. Chance for Campbell. Kick is smothered. Hang on. Free kick going Melbourne's way. Go the way of Stephen May. I'm not sure.
It's contact, yeah, it is. Yep.
Lafau slid in. Guess technically it was probably there.
Goes laterally to Rivers in the back pocket. Loops a kick over the top to Fritsch, who pokes it out wide. It just gets to Billings. Ralph Smith arriving late. Melbourne by 16 points, just repeating. Bailey Laurie into the game. Caleb Windsor subbed out. I'll bring you more information on that in a moment. As Billings kicks to a leading Max Gawn, juggles the mark. Right in front of the benches. Melbourne has 16-point buffer. 8 minutes into the fourth, goes back to Howes. Skips back on the back pedal off the mark. Stabs it short, dangerous kick. It finds Rivers. Melbourne just chipping it around at the moment. Tomorrow afternoon, of course, Anzac Day footy, Essendon and Collingwood. Rivers a high kick to half forward here for Melbourne. Off the hands of Turner, who roves his own pack. Gives it off to Fritsch. Flying snap. As cool as you like from Bailey Fritsch. His second. Richmond do all of the attacking. Melbourne go down the other end and do the scoring. Adam Ramanauskas, Mark Murphy.
Yeah, well, it's just into a packed situation, and Melbourne are better at ground level. And you're right, Murph. Just instinctive there by Bailey Fritsch. We rarely see him kick on his right foot, but that's a right foot snap from 40 metres out and goes through just comfortably.
Did you see the puff of dust?
puff of dust.
On his right boot?
No. No.
It was actually quite intelligent from Melbourne. They got all their numbers up the ground, and then the ball floated out the back, and there was just all this space for Fritsch to work into. So they got all their numbers up the ground, which then gave a lot of opportunity for that run-on play, which they did. It was almost like a goal out of nothing, really, wasn't it?
Well, the ball's been locked in Richmond's forward line for the first 7 or 8 minutes of this quarter. So, goes up the other end and score. That's going to be a high fend there.
It is, and Cosy Pickett is going to get the free kick. He gets the hand pass away to Van Rooyen, who's in the ruck. Drives the kick inside 50. It won't get to Fritsch at the back. Petty spoils it down. Neil Bullen tried to hand pass through traffic. Viney's in there for Melbourne. He's tackled. Shea Bolton with a tackler on him. Tries to clear, but turns it over. And Cosy Pickett marks on his chest. Slightly left of centre, 40 metres out from goal. Jess Webster on the boundary.
Just confirming, no injury concerns for Caleb Windsor. That sub was tactical. So 14 disposals and a goal. His return tonight.
Yeah, I think Jack Viney could count himself a little bit lucky there, not giving away the throw there. Questioning that little handball, but that just shows the danger of throwing the boot on the ball on the boot when you're in your D50 and you don't get much purchase on it.
Cosy Pickett, after a third suspension in 26 games, 1 goal already, comes in for his second, starts it right, curls it back beautifully, and the Demons have 2 quick goals to just about close out the contest. A 28-point advantage, 10-7-67 to Richmond 5-9-39. Cosy's back with 2. 11 minutes gone, final term on ABC Sport.
Windsor getting subbed out, 14 disposals and a goal.
Not a bad day.
Yeah, it's a good 3 quarters of football as a sort of a winger.
Do you reckon that's a managing thing?
Well, it can't be because they've had a week off.
Yeah, that's true.
So there's no real need to sub him out of the game. There's a few others that I would have subbed probably before him, but anyway, that's their decision there. So that was just because of Shea Bolton trying to clear the space there out of defence, and Cosy Pickett had just camped himself on the 50 and waited for that ball.
Did the little rock the cradle for the baby.
Yeah.
Gawn winning the tap to Petrarca. Handballs to himself in the end. Then his second handball goes straight to Marlon Pickett, who turns tackler on Petrarca, who's down a little sore, but he'll get up. Baker emerges with the footy for Richmond. Kick to Lafau, half forward. Drops the mark. Graham onto it. Away to Rioli Jr. Back to Baker. Left foot shot. Offline. Missing right. 27 points is the advantage. Anzac Eve on ABC Sport. Adam Ramanauskas.
Oh, this game's just simply changed through Melbourne's kicking efficiency.
Yeah.
They stopped making those fundamental errors, which they were in the first half. And, now, what do they kick? 5-7 goals now in this second half. So, they're starting to just pierce their way through Richmond quite easily now.
The other part Simon Goodwin would like is they've kicked 8 of their 10 goals from turnovers. Yeah. So they force Richmond into errors.
That's Jake Lever, a lot of that.
Yeah.
It's been terrific tonight.
The kick from Billings, who got it from Rivers, out to the members' side, and Alex Neil-Bullen takes the mark.
I just think it's always a risk when teams are happy to concede and have Lever or May as the loose player for Melbourne.
Laurie took the mark, kicks up towards Sparrow, can't complete the mark. Boston with tackle.
Yep.
Neil-Bullen has to be gone. He was looking for the boundary line. The umpire says no, holding the ball, and Richmond will take it in front of their bench. Trailing by 27 points. Nick Boston quickly tries to blaze away to half forward. He turns it over. And Stephen May takes the intercepting mark.
Melbourne by 27. Midway through the fourth. May on his left. Kicks around the boundary. Up to a contest, and Turner coming up to mark. He'll wheel and go quickly. Shanks his kick. Bouncing ball for Naismith. Clean bowls him. Out the back, inside 50 here for the D's. Clever handball from Pickett. Doesn't find Billings. Baker arrives first. Now he's under the pump, loses it. Richmond work it out. Dan Rioli gives it back to Baker. Kick up to the wing. Martin there. Shoves May underneath it. Takes the mark. He'll run away from them. He'll kick out in front of Broad. Bouncing ball half forward. Morris Rioli Jr. gets there first. Gathers the footy. Runs inside 50. In the pocket. Misses.
Bad luck.
Very nearly for Richmond.
But he worked extremely hard for that ball. Morris Rioli Jr. started at half back, and terrific run. I've been impressed with his work rate tonight, Murph.
Yeah, Melbourne by 26. Sorry,
He's usually been just one of those players who stands out obviously with his defensive pressure and his work ethic, but he's actually got higher up the ground and actually worked really hard back towards goal and got used, which is really good to see.
Chad McVee into the pocket for Jake Lever, who has it for Melbourne. Looks up to the wing. Van Rooyen the target. Spoiled away by Miller. Petrarca front and centre. He's tackled well. And Pickett, that's Marlon, who's right there alongside him. Locks the ball underneath him. And a ball up just inside the boundary onto the Shane Warne stand side. Melbourne by 26 points. 10-7-67 to Richmond. 5-11-41. The Demons with 2 goals to 1 so far in this final term through 14 minutes. Gawn wins down the tap, got to the advantage of Petrarca. He breaks away from Marlon Pickett, kicks up to Turner. He takes the mark in front of Grimes at right half forward. Turner a fine.
Backpedaling off the mark, looks inside 50 for Fritsch. Punched away there by Young. Spills down for the D's. Petrarca gets rid of it. Laurie runs in, and the super sub goals. Little check side from the pocket. Puts a cherry on top for the D's. They're out by 32. 11-7-73 plays 5-11-41. Quarter hour mark. Adam Ramanauskas, Mark Murphy on Anzac Eve on ABC Sport.
We're just going to talk about the Marlon Pickett and Christian Petrarca contest, and they were involved in a contest on that far wing, which then resulted in a stoppage, and then Petrarca got on the flyers and Max Gawn hit to space where Petrarca gets on the end of it, involved in the passage of play, and then he was the one handballing the ball off to a teammate, which then results in a goal to Laurie. So there's the work rate, isn't it, Ramo? When you're getting tagged, you can eventually just find a way towards the end of the game, and that's why he's superior athlete. That's why he's a superstar, because he just kept on finding a way, working harder, getting on the end of that passage of play, and having an influence. He's had the 6 disposals in this last quarter compared to Pickett's 0.
That's also his first goal in AFL footy in his 7th game. Back in the middle of the ground, a chance of the Tigers through Marlon Pickett. Couldn't gather the footy. Chandler can for Melbourne. Chips it up towards Ed Langdon. He marks between wing and half forward. Back with the flight, Neil Bullen inside 50. He takes the mark in front of Dylan Grimes. Hard against the boundary. Right forward pocket, centering ball for Gawn. Spoiled away by Naismith towards the teeth of goal. Petty's onto it for Melbourne. It's locked up by Miller. Just 15 metres out from Melbourne's goal. At the punt road end, the Demons by 32 points.
Up it goes. Naismith hooking it towards the boundary line. Onto it, Marlon Pickett. The last line for Richmond. Heaves a kick to beyond defensive 50. Holding for a kick. It'll go the way of Howes. So Melbourne back in possession. Leading by 32 points. Gives it off to Billings. Stabs it towards full forward. Coming in from the side, Grimes. Good mark. He's got it at fullback. Melbourne by 32. 17.5 into the final term.
Grimes into the pocket for Nathan Broad, who takes the mark. He'll hug the boundary line and work it to Banks, who has it hemmed into the left back pocket. Punt road side, switches play to Marlon Pickett, who marks in the right back pocket. Can work it up to Dan Rioli on the bounce, gives it back to Marlon Pickett. Has the short option in Tom Brown, ignores that, goes longer up the wing to McIntosh. He marks on his chest. The foul's free at right half forward if he can get it to him. McIntosh plays on. A Morris centering kick. Morris Rioli Jr. flies. Couldn't get up high enough over the top of Rivers. It spills down to Shea Bolton, trying to fend off the tackle of McVee, who sling tackles him. And the umpire will ball it up in the right forward pocket for Richmond. Wasn't a dangerous sling tackle in the end, but certainly made sure he wasn't getting further.
Up it goes. Gawn and Nankervis. Nankervis flicking it down for Baker. Immediately wrapped up, gets a handball away. Sparrow for the D's. Little 1-2 with May. Quick snap kick, punched away. Loose footy inside 50 here for the Tigers. Baker onto it. Handball away, straight to the D's again. Clearing kick from McVee. Free kick will come back. Sparrow will get it.
I think the other part that's been evident in the second half is Melbourne's superior fitness. Like you just see them now running past Richmond players. They're working harder to get to contest. Like Max Gawn there, just worked out of that contest on Naismith. So
you do have the captain of industry when it comes to S&C, and Darren Burgess still at Melbourne. Is he not, or is he left now?
They're much more experienced.
He's at Crows. The Crows.
They're much more experienced.
He moves around a lot. Darren Burgess in high demand.
Alex Neil Bullen up towards Bailey Fritsch, who takes the mark. Stretching above Nathan Broad, who's standing awkwardly, and he's got the Harbour Bridge as he's on his back. Bailey Fritsch gets the hand pass away to Billings, into the pocket for Pickett. Tries to chip it to Bailey Laurie, who takes the mark. in the left forward pocket.
Yeah, nice can double up here.
Yeah, 15 metres out, but on a tight angle in the left forward pocket. An unselfish act from Cozzy Pickett. Laurie, the sub, into the action in this final term. Steps out, curls it around the corner for his second. And the Demons are marching now. 9 goals after half-time. They lead by 38 points. And about to register a famous win. 12-7-79 to Richmond, 5-11-41. 20 minutes gone. Final term on ABC Sport.
Yeah, there's no doubt, Raymond, that the class has sort of shone through, hasn't it? And probably you look to Richmond's list and they're key players who are usually in the midfield in Taranto and a Hopper, how good he was in that first half, and obviously Prestia being out. So I think they've just found out that they've just probably got too many young legs out there at the moment, and Melbourne are a pretty well-oiled and experienced team, aren't they? And they're probably going to feature towards the back end of the season compared to where Richmond are trying to, not rebuild, but they're trying to unearth a few younger players and learn a new style of football.
72,840 in attendance. Gone down for Sparrow. He's bumped off his kick. Spills out towards Ralph Smith on the wing. Feeds it to Thompson Dow. High kick to half forward. Coming up, unable to mark. Mansell bounces off his chest. Back to Ralph Smith. Handball to half forward. Handball away from Campbell. Dustin Martin, high tackle. Free kick going the way of Viney. D's on the halfback flank. Melbourne by 38 points. After half-time, they've kicked 9 goals to 2. Richmond did lead by a point. As Viney takes the kick up to the wing. Gawn takes the mark. Good news, Rammer.
Yeah.
Want to know what it is?
I know exactly what it is.
Tom McDonald's behind, won't matter.
As Jake Lever takes the mark in the middle of the ground, having received it from Lever, gets the hand pass back to Rivers, who drives it inside 50. Fritsch outnumbered 2-on-1. And the mark is taken by Tyler Young. 40 metres out from his defensive line. He played on. Cozzy Pickett comes charging at him. Good call. Composure to find Toby Nankervis at half-back. Stabs a kick to Naismith in the middle of the ground. The two rucks combining. Hand pass to Floston. Kicks up to Morris Rioli Jr. Edge of the centre square. Martin's deep in the goal square. Missed him as Martin slipped over. McVie comes out. Spoils it down for Melbourne. Straight to Langdon. Kicks a spiralling ball up the wing. Fritsch is the target. It clears him. And Van Rooyen takes the mark behind. Claims it in front of Broad as Nick Floston has just slowed down to rise to his feet.
Comes infield with the kick for Viney. Second generation D. On his left, out in the Fritsch direction. Outbodies his opponent to mark. Haley Fritsch. He'll deliver low inside 50 and right onto the chest of Petty. A beautiful pass, and Petty can go back and take the set shot.
There again, it looked like a bit of work rate and fitness, Ramo, where Melbourne were able to spread the ball and change the angles over the far side of the ground and then open up holes for one another. Just that work rate of leading through opposition players, creating that space for your teammate behind you. And that's where Petty fell into a nice little hole, about 40 out from goal.
To continue to blow out the lead late. Petty on the stuttering approach. Puts his laces through it and misses the lot. Still Melbourne by 38. 12-7-79 plays 5-11-41. Great to have had your company on Anzac Eve on ABC Sport.
Yeah, the Tigers have allowed Jake Lever 11 marks. Stephen May 12 marks. Trent Rivers 11 marks. Max Gawn 10 marks. Like 3 of those 4 are defenders.
Yeah.
Bill poses the question on the SMS 0437774774 about Richmond's delivery inside 50 as the Tigers gather on the wing. It's Mansell who works it out to Dustin Martin, centre wing, turns inboard, trying to get it to Shea Bolton, but a good mark taken by Taj Woden. It was 1-on-3 and he's going to get 50 here as Shea Bolton didn't come back on the mark.
I think delivery is one thing, but having the cattle forward as well is another thing. Like Richmond's two targets were really Dustin Martin and Lafau today. And that was it. Like, Shea Bolton really hasn't been a target forward today as he normally would.
Tajwai went inside 50. Max Gawn's the target. Can't take the mark. Harrison Petty fends off the tackler. A centering kick. Tyler Young getting back. Takes the mark. In the left forward pocket for the Tigers. Jacob Hopper subbed out of the match in the third quarter with what looked to be a hamstring. As Dan Rioli with a clearing kick up towards Banks. In front, House takes the mark. Well, Bailey Laurie came in for Caleb Windsor. We think a tactical sub at three-quarter time.
House at half forward. Mark 53 out. Wants to go backwards into the centre square. Mark taken by Rivers. Melbourne by 38. Rivers waits a kick inside 50. Petrarca held. Free kick to Petrarca. Plum in front. Mark said 40 out.
There was always going to be the danger with this matchup if he was going to go everywhere with him, Pickett and Petrarca, that when he did get opportunities to drift forward, that the one-on-one contest was going to be... It was going to make Pickett probably a little bit nervous, wasn't it? They've already seen him kick one goal from a lead up forward, but that one, just one-on-one space, just drew the free.
Christian Petrarca. Set shot, drop punt, never looked like missing. He gets a goal to go away with. Melbourne lead by 44 and they have absolutely blown it out late. 13-7-85 plays 5-11-41. 25 minutes into the fourth. Anzac Eve on ABC Sport. Adam Ramanauskas, Mark Murphy.
It's a 10-goal-2 half now in Melbourne's favour, obviously. So, you know, it really has blown out in this second half. Petrarca's, what's he had? He's had the 23 possessions, 8 kicks, 15 handballs.
6 clearances.
He's kicked the ball at 50%. He's kicked the goal now. And so it's been... hasn't been Petrarca's best game by any stretch, but he's worked.
He's worked his way into it.
He's worked.
And he's contributed when the game was on in the third quarter. Yep. He's got his hands on the football, was influential with some of his disposal.
So 5 goals in the third quarter, 5 goals in the final term for the Demons as Dan Rioli tries to inject some spark for Richmond. Through the middle of the ground to Marlon Pickett. Kicks inside 50 over the head of LaFowl. He and Tom Mitchell tangle. McVie tries to wrestle it away from Mansell. Still a chance for the Tigers. Martin's in there in the left forward pocket. Can't knock it clear. Lever knocks it out to Neil Bullen. A clearing kick for Melbourne. Richmond have the numbers. Now Curvis trying to gather. Taps it down to the advantage of Baker. Brushes the tackle of Langdon. Hand pass to McIntosh. Almost slipped over. Centering ball for Marlon Pickett. He marks just inside 50, slightly left of centre. And a chance for the Tigers to boot their second goal of the final term.
Good vision there from Camden McIntosh, who could probably blame him just for whacking the ball on his boot and getting it to the top of the square, but had the presence of mind just to look inboard and see a few of his Richmond teammates there in a better position.
Looking to become the 5th individual goal kicker for the Tigers. Marlon Pickett from outside 50. It's across the face to the right-hand side, and Max Gawn ensures it goes through for a minor score. Melbourne by 43 points at the 27-minute mark of the final term. Might be heading up to the arc just to confirm it was over the line. It seemed pretty clear.
First one tonight.
Yeah.
Had a good night.
What could they possibly be checking then?
Whether it crossed the line, I assume.
Oh, come on.
But it clearly did.
Only by half a metre.
You're pretty convinced from up here, Rama. Oh. You could see it from here, couldn't you?
Seagulls could have called that.
Yeah.
43 points. Melbourne's lead. McVie with the kick in. Up towards the wing. Free kick. Will go to Gawn. So Max Gawn on the southern side of the ground. In possession for the D's. They'll chip it short. Coming up, unable to mark Langdon. Out of play it goes. Kept in by McIntosh. Feeds it back towards Brown. Kicks around the body. Coming up close to the boundary line. LaFowl fumbles it out. And a throw-in to come. Melbourne by 43 points late in this game.
The hard thing too for Richmond with their forward line too, not having a Tom Lynch up there who is that general who can lead and organise his teammates. They're all sort of new to it, aren't they? They're just learning their caper, and that'll come in time.
From the throw in, the full-time siren sounds. The Demons deliver with 10 goals to 2 after half-time. to record a 43-point win over the Tigers on Anzac Eve, their biggest win over Richmond since 2010.
For me and for you, it's the emblem of the team we love, the team of the red and the blue. Every heart beats true for the red and the blue, and we sing this song to you. Should old acquaintance be forgot, keep your eye on the red and the blue.
The Demons led by 6 points at quarter time. The Tigers by a point at half-time. Caleb Windsor with a goal after the siren of three-quarter time as Melbourne got on a roll in the third quarter. They put it 5 goals to 1 in the third quarter before following up with 5 goals to 1 in the final. So 10 goals to 2 after half-time as Melbourne 13-7-85 to Richmond 5-12-42. And the Demons, with a couple of big matches to come, moved to 5 wins and 2 losses.
It's a grand old flag, it's a high-flying flag, it's the emblem for me and for you. It's the emblem of the team we love, the team of the red and the blue. Every heart beats true for the red and the blue, and we sing this song to you. Should old acquaintance be forgot, keep your eye on the red and the blue.
The Demons 13-7-85 to Richmond 5-12-42. And Melbourne are back on the winners list after the bye and their loss to Brisbane at the MCG a few Thursday nights ago. And it sets up what's going to be a mouth-watering couple of weeks with Geelong and Carlton in the next 2 weeks. While for the Tigers, unfortunately, their injury list grows and they're 1-6 at the conclusion of round 7 of the AFL. For the Demons, well, they found one in Daniel Turner. He kicked 3 goals. 2 goals to Cozzy Pickett, to Bailey Fritsch and to Bailey Laurie, the sub who came on in the final term. Individuals to Van Rooyen, Petrarca, Windsor, Gawn. And for the Tigers, their goals came through 2 to Morris Rioli Jr., individuals to Dustin Martin, Shea Bolton and McKelty Lafau. The Demons winners by 43 points in front of 72,840 fans at the MCG for this Anzac Eve clash. The thoughts of Adam Ramanauskas and Mark Murphy, your experts.
Yeah, well, I suppose it was a performance that we probably expected after half-time. Melbourne came in here probably expected to win, and Richmond had come off a pretty difficult couple of weeks. Obviously had the bye the week before, but losing over there in the West. But yeah, Melbourne, they were good after half-time. I thought they had an arm wrestle. They're up for the fight. Richmond, you've got to give them credit. They made the game pretty dirty affair, didn't they, in that first half? But Melbourne just... Bit of their polish came through in that third quarter, and I think they kicked 5 goals to 1 in that third term. And it was just, I think it was on the back of their clearance work. Max Gawn was very influential in that third quarter, and Petrarca started to get his hands on the football, but they started to use the ball a lot better, and their work rate really shone through.
Let's head down to Abby Holmes for the Frank Checker Hughes medal.
Player and coach and World War I veteran. Awarded to the player judged best on ground, I am pleased to announce the 2024 Frank Checker Hughes medal winner is Max Gawn.
The Demons captain with 23 disposals, 16 contested possessions, 10 marks and 5 clearances.
And a goal, yeah.
Sorry. Thank you. Thanks to Tiger Boys. This medal's lovely and I'm really appreciative of it, but the names on the back of our jumper are a whole lot more important than what we did out tonight. We had Damian Tomlinson come in this week and he was unbelievable telling us his story, and I know we're out here in a football field and they're out there at war, but we played with a little bit of Damian spirit tonight, and I thank all the Anzacs and all the veterans and hope they have a great day tomorrow.
The Melbourne captain, Max Gawn, who wins the Frank Checker Hughes medal, which was inaugurated in 2021, commemorates the World War I serviceman and 7-time premiership player and coach Francis Vane Checker Hughes. The thoughts of Mark Murphy and Adam Ramanauskas. Melbourne 43-point winners over Richmond.
Yeah, it was a well-deserved man of the match winning there, Max Gawn. I thought at half-time Richmond probably curtailed him a little bit. I thought they probably were going in probably head-to-head and pretty even at at that half-time period. But in that third quarter, he kicked that goal to start the momentum for Melbourne in that third term, and got busy around the clearances and started to really take some big grabs and bring his other midfielders into the game. So he's a superstar, isn't he?
Yeah.
And again, just a terrific footballer, and spoke really well then. But he's a genuine start.
Yeah, it's a deserving winner, no doubt about that. I thought Jake Lever was very good also. He had the 26 possessions, 11 marks, and he had 15 intercept possessions for the game. So I thought he was another very good player for the Demons tonight. They'll be pleased with that second half, no doubt. Like the first half was an arm wrestle. Richmond clearly came out with a plan that they wanted to try to expose Melbourne's structured defence through handball receive. And that was working in the first half, but simply Richmond weren't able to score freely enough. And then you go 10-2 in the second half. It's 5-1 in the third quarter, and the game's nearly over from there. Richmond kicked the first goal in the last quarter, then Melbourne kicked the last 5 of the game. So you look at scoring shots, 17-20, and you look at inside 50s, 50 apiece. So they were there, the Tigers, but I just think in the critical moments, and I think as the game wore on in terms of the intensity of the game and also the fitness levels. We mentioned the fitness levels of the Melbourne players compared to the Richmond players in that second half. Just Melbourne were running on top of the ground in that second half. Both teams had the week off, so there's no excuse for feeling tired, but it just looked like Melbourne were a bit more battle-hardened in that second half, and probably were able to execute that. They kicked the ball at 55% in that first half. Then in the second half, they kicked the ball at 75%. Yeah. So, a 20% improvement in their foot skills, and that's a big number at AFL level. The AFL average, I think, is only 66 or 67% for kicking efficiency. So Melbourne well above that in the second half, and they're able to capitalise with 10 goals. So a good game from Melbourne, a workmanlike game from Melbourne. Would that be a gold standard game for Melbourne? Absolutely not. But I think it's we're almost in the stage of the year, Murph, where you sort of just want to bank your 4 points and move on.
Well, very rarely do you get games where you're dominant over 4 quarters. So they were involved in an arm wrestle against Richmond, who everyone was sort of knocking them coming in. But they've still got a lot of good players in amongst their side, and they're not easy to score against too. They're pretty solid defence. Where they were really lacking was once Hopper did his hamstring, and you don't have Taranto, and you don't have Prestia. Your midfield depth really got tested, and they're obviously quite a few down in their forward line as well. So they just didn't have that polish going inside 50 and the ability to score from those entries, as Lever and May and Gawn were all pretty influential in getting back and supporting their defence and getting their game going from there. But they played really well in that third and fourth term and did enough to win by 43 points, which they would have taken every day of the week coming into tonight.
Yeah. For the Tigers, you're looking for the positives of that game, and I thought their first half, I thought they were dour in that first half, the way they played the game. But I thought Lafau was a real find. I know he's played a couple of games of football now, but he'll only say 9 possessions and a goal. But I thought his game was better than that. You look at Stephen May; he's had 23 possessions and 12 marks, but I thought he gave Stephen May problems.
You just saw a few signs, which are like, maybe they've got something here, Richmond. And you look at other players like Thompson Dow, who I thought did some really handy things. He's pretty fleet of foot. Looks like he's got some good awareness. So they're going to have to rely on a few of these lesser-known players coming through and showing a bit.
The Tigers close within 16 points to start the final term, but Melbourne ran away 43-point winners down to the Melbourne rooms with Jess Webster.
The players are slowly filing in out. It's a pretty pleased and satisfied playing group that has come into the rooms. A lot of family and friends as well, packed in. And they're pretty vocal. It was a satisfying win. They had to get the job done tonight and get back on the winners list. And they've done just that. Beat Richmond by 43 points. They've gathered now. Let's have a listen to the song. energy in that song, boys. They got the job done, as I mentioned, in style, and hopefully get some reaction soon.
Thanks, Jess. Jess Webster down in the Melbourne rooms after the Demons' 43-point win as they move to 5-2 after round 7 of the AFL, and with matches against Geelong and Carlton, it does just pose the question as to how good are they in 2024?
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting couple of weeks for them, and we've got some big games, obviously one tomorrow and Geelong and Carlton play on Saturday. But yeah, Melbourne next couple of weeks, we're going to know a bit more about them. They would have been really disappointed by the way in which they played here a couple of weeks ago against Brisbane. They did a good enough job tonight where they were really good after half-time. They were obviously involved in that arm wrestle up until that period, but I think they'd be pretty happy by the way in which they went about in that second half, and they'll be pretty fresh obviously from their bye, so they can really attack the next 2 weeks and be really excited about what they can try and achieve. They're 5-2, so they're right up amongst it, aren't they, Rama?
Well, I think how good Melbourne are is going to be determined by their midfield-forward connection, and what is the right combination there. I think we know the midfield of Viney, Petrarca, Oliver, and maybe a few others slide through there at times. But we see Daniel Lloyd come in today and kick three goals. Bailey Fritsch kicked a couple of goals. So Pickett kicked a couple of goals. But I still don't. It's amazing that Melbourne still don't know what their best combination is, and that's I think been basically from their premiership year. They just haven't been able to work it out.
It feels like that's going to be the constant. I mean, last 2 years they've finished top 4 and then gone out in straight sets, and that's been the key reason behind it. So whether they can remedy that, Rummer.
Yeah, well, they lost by a kick in a semi last year, so they're not far off it. But I think they're not going to find someone who's going to bob up and kick 5 or 6 every week. No one has them. There's a few teams that have got some special players, but they have to be pretty reliant upon guys bobbing up and kicking 2 or 3 and finding a way forward that way.
It gives them versatility, but the question is, are they a better side than last year? I guess that's what we're looking to gauge in the next couple of weeks as to what we saw in the first half. Richmond's ability to play that style of game. Are Melbourne a good enough team where they can come up with answers and get their star players to really shift momentum, which is a little of what we saw in the second half?
Yeah, you look through a few names, and Jack Billings is probably one that jumps out. You think he had 18 disposals tonight, but he's probably one who can add that bit of polish forward of centre, who is a really good ball user, but he's played a lot of footy now, Jack Billings, and if he can just work out his role, exactly what is required from him, and then getting used to playing with a bunch of new blokes will take a little bit of time, but he's someone that I think can add a bit of polish to their side, looking forward inside 50 for sure. So, Cozzy Pickett's, he's a really important player. He's had the 20 disposals and kicked a couple tonight. So he's the type of player that's a real energy sparker for them. So they're going to be pretty reliant upon him, doing what he does best, aren't they?
Look, Melbourne are a system team. They've been a system team for a long time now. That's how Simon Goodwin likes to coach. I've always felt the challenge for Melbourne is when their system does break down, what can they do next to stop the flow of opposition? Now, we saw the flow of opposition against Brisbane, who we still think is a pretty good team. Melbourne had no answer to that because their system got totally broken down. So I do think teams do need a plan B. Yep, okay, yeah, you want your plan A to work all the time, and the good teams will say, yeah, our plan A will work the majority of the time. But when it doesn't, how can you stay in games? How can you win games if it's not working?
And the good part from a Melbourne point of view is they've got Jake Lever, who had 15 intercept marks for the game. They've got Stephen May. Tom McDonald's gone back there. So they now have versatility in terms of trying to get the matchups right. And while Richmond didn't have Tom Lynch, so they didn't probably have as many threats as what a better side like Geelong or Carlton might prove. It feels like, as you said, Rama, Melbourne's system is certainly what they base their game on, the contest and defence.
Their defence is strong. Their midfield's strong. It's their forward connection that's, we always talk about it, but that's the one area where you feel that if they don't make the most of their opportunities, are they going to kick a big enough score? That's the worry for them.
How hard is it to fix that?
Fix the
mid-forward connection?
Oh, Yeah, look, that's a tough question because I think you fix that if you got consistency in both lines, and I don't think Melbourne have necessarily had the consistency, particularly in the forward line, for a number of years now. So, as forwards, you look up at the midfielder and you know who's kicking it to you. As a midfielder, you sort of know where your forward's going to lead. Now, I was fortunate that I played with two very good ones. But it takes a lot of time, a lot of games together.
Melbourne winners by 43 points in the Anzac Eve clash against the Tigers. Let's head back down to the Demons' rooms with Jess Webster.
Thanks, Clinchy. Here with Alex Neil-Bullen. And Alex, you had to wait a little while after the disappointing loss to Brisbane to bounce back, but you did just that in style tonight. How satisfying was that win?
Yeah, certainly to walk off after 4 quarters with a good result is very pleasing. The long turnaround when you come off a loss, it always sits around for a bit longer, so it was good to respond with a win, although at half-time we definitely had our hands full and had to adjust a few things. So very pleased with how the group really handled that pressure and the challenges and came out in the second half and got the game we wanted, which was very pleasing.
Another pleasing aspect to tonight was Daniel Turner. He came into tonight not having kicked an AFL goal and he bobs up with 3. That must be super exciting to see how excited he was to get a few goals on the board.
Yeah, certainly. He is a natural forward, Disco, we call him. He's someone that's worked really hard in the VFL over the last few years playing defence, and I don't know, the coaches have a great knack to identify a potential forward. They've done it with Harrison Petty, and Daniel Turner is similar, really good in the air, and when the ball hits the ground he's also very dangerous, loves the contest. So for him to pop up and contribute was very pleasing. And the balance of the forward line, that's what we love. You see him come in tonight, produces, kick some goals, and it's just awesome to see those guys getting rewarded.
And it's such a great vibe in the rooms at the moment on what is has become a really special occasion on the football calendar. What does it mean to you to play on Anzac Eve?
Yeah, I was actually chatting to a couple of the boys earlier tonight. This is actually our favourite game of the year, albeit besides finals footy. Just the occasion, the build up to the week. We had a former veteran share his story with us, and you just take little glimpses of what they've gone through. And not to say footy's like going to war or on the battlefield, but at the same time you take little themes away, and it really, I guess, for Richmond and Melbourne, talking on behalf of both groups, it's really exciting to be a part of it. And when my footy career is all said and done, I'm sure I'll look back and can't believe that I used to play in these type of games.
Yeah, it was a wonderful night. I'll send you upstairs to our experts, Mark Murphy, Adam Ramanauskas.
Alex, congratulations on the win. You spoke about making some changes at half-time. What were they?
Yeah, we had a real focus on forward half footy tonight. We felt like Richmond were just transitioning the ball a little bit easy, and we were probably contributing to that with our ball use, so a bit more calmness, and then we were able to control the game in our forward half and create more opportunities, and then you see the likes of Turner pop up and kick his goals.
Were you surprised? Obviously, Adam Uze knows you guys so well. Were you surprised with tactically how you tried to play, you guys? It looked like particularly early in the game, their handball received, their running game was just catching you off balance defensively a little bit.
Yeah, that's probably a fair assessment. We knew that they wanted to transition the ball very fast. That's how Uz loves to play his footy, and obviously got a lot of respect for him as a person and a coach, and we knew we had to bring our best, and we probably were just that 15% off early in the first, and then also in the second we probably just encouraged their pressure, their swarm with our poor ball movement. So for the boys to come together, control the game again, very pleasing, because I reckon against Brisbane going back, 9 days, we weren't able to do that. Brizzy had the momentum for the whole game, so for us to wrestle that back was really important, and belief for the group as well.
Alex, well done tonight. How did you spend the last 2 weeks? Did you have a period where you had time off, or did you train hard all the way through? Because obviously you would have finished that Brisbane game and wanted to work on a few things. How did you actually approach it?
Yeah, had a few days to spend with the family and get away from footy just for a little bit. A lot of recovery, Murph, and probably one of those things was us to mentally reset. We'd had a big campaign over in Adelaide, a big game against, obviously, Brizzy, and we just wanted to make sure we came back to the training track with a high intensity, and we're able to do that. Although we've got another long break now, we'll have a similar approach, but an exciting challenge at the next month of footy for the Ds.
Yeah, now to me, you look like you're the leader of that forward line. You've been down there for quite a while, a lot of experience. What's your best forward mix going forward?
Probably leaning on what I spoke about earlier. Not to have everyone in a set position, get a few guys through there, and I like it. You see Harrison Petty coming to the team, and although I don't think he kicked the goal tonight necessarily, but he brings that aerial game, and that brings us smaller boys into the game, and you're probably looking at someone that can just compete relentlessly over 4 quarters, and we're starting to find those guys roll through the forward line.
Alex, you spoke a little bit about Anzac Day and trying to exhibit the traits that the Anzacs did, but Damian Tomlinson, he was mentioned by Max Gawn in the speech. He came in and spoke to the group during the week. What did you take away from his chat?
Well, yeah, I don't know if you know his story. He lost both his legs on the battlefield, and he spoke a lot about his team. And they after 56 minutes, they brought him back to life or ensured that he survived. And when he heard that and he came back to it in the hospital bed, he had one mission, and that was to return to the airport when those guys flew home from their service, and he just wanted to make sure he was there for them to show that what they did for him was worth it. And that's kind of the theme that we took in, making sure tonight that we're going to be there for each other when it's going well, when we're challenged, but also make it worth it. Make sure we're the old play your role to your best ability, and I feel like we had majority do that tonight.
It's a beautiful story and really well told. What were you thinking when you were standing out there and the last ode is being performed? The ode is being performed in the last post as well. What were you thinking in that moment?
I'll be truthful, boys. It takes me back to my younger days as a footy fan growing up in Adelaide, watching the Anzac Day games religiously every year, and to think that, I get an opportunity to be out here playing the game that I love with a crowd. I think it was 70,000 tonight. Yeah, you just got to pinch yourself, boys, because it obviously doesn't last forever, and I'm just going to keep making the most of it every opportunity that I get out on here.
Now, Alex, I actually spent some time in South Australia, and I used to have a talkback radio program, and we used to get a caller from, I think, Glenelg, named Sharon.
Yes, I know Sharon from Glenelg.
Yeah. Your mum, very big supporter of yours, sometimes sitting in the cheer squad behind the goals. She's a great support to you, isn't she?
Yeah, Shazza, mum, she's been huge for my career. She makes sure she gets down to the cheer squad, gets around the fans, and she brings a great ball of energy. So I'm very appreciative for my mum's support.
She's a ripper.
Can we find out a bit about Disco? Why is he called Disco?
Oh, mate, you'd have to ask him. There's a few stories.
You don't know, you just call him Disco.
Yeah, we just go along with it. He actually told the boys to call him Disco from the bounce. So.
Self-proclaimed nickname. I like it.
I don't mind that. Now, he's kicked 3 goals tonight, Alex, but our question is, where does he sit in terms of celebrators at Melbourne? He seems like someone who really enjoys it when he's able to hit the scoreboard.
Yeah, no, he loves it. He always brings that energy. Even when he scores a ball in defence, it's the exact same. So he makes the most of it. Sorry, boys, I got to go. We're about to head into a meeting. Great chatting. Cheers.
Alex Neil Bullen, who unfortunately had to wrap us up, and that's all we've got time for, as Melbourne will head in for a meeting with Simon Goodwin. So, we need cult figures in footy, and Daniel Disco Turner is now the new star of the Melbourne Forward 50.
Telling everyone to call him Disco.
I reckon that's something you might roll with.
Disco. Oh, we've got Mitch Turner. We've got Mitch Turner in our stable at the ABC. So we might start calling him Mitch Disco Turner. But yeah, Sharon Neil Bullen, she's a ripper. She gets around and supports the D's very strongly, and used to call up and give her take on the footy and what was going on. So well done to
she made some good points back in the day, did she, Benny?
Yeah, more sense than our experts sometimes.
It's not that hard, is it?
There you go.
Just joking, lads.
Melbourne winners by 43 points, 13-7-85 to Richmond 5-12-42. If you've just flicked on the radio, it was a pretty dour first half. The Tigers led by a point at halftime. Melbourne booted 10 goals to 2 in the second half. They kicked 5 goals to 1 in the third and 5 goals to 1-3 in the final term. Despite Richmond kicking the first goal of the final term to close within 16 points for the Demons, there was 3 goals to Daniel Turner, 2 goals to Cozzy Pickett, to Bailey Fritsch, and to Bailey Laurie, the sub, who came into the action. So we're a little surprised that Caleb Windsor was subbed out at three-quarter time. He's desperately looking for a rising star nominee. Melbourne's first round pick from 2023, pick 7 from the Eastern Rangers. It could only be trying to manage him throughout what's going to be a long season, because it sort of feels like he's found his spot on the wing, hasn't he?
Yeah, I imagine it's purely that, just wanting to manage his minutes, but, he had a week off, so I'm not sure where the management comes into that side of things.
It'll be interesting to hear what Simon Goodwin says in the presser, like whether he says it was management or form or whatever else. It'd be really fascinating. They seem to like him on the wing, though.
Oh, well, he's got pure pace.
Yeah.
And, that's very hard to find. I think now at any level, or particularly the junior level of football, that, having wheels like that, he can get away from players quite comfortably. So, but look, Bailey Laurie came on, kicked his 2 goals, and, quite happy. Thought, What was that?
All
You
worked
said it
out.
was his first goal, didn't you, in his
Yep,
in
so
his
they had
AFL career? So.
Bailey Laurie and Daniel Turner, who both kicked their first goals tonight. So I guess adding to the youth coming through from Melbourne. And you just look at we spoke about it a few moments ago, their defensive 50 with Jake Lever having 26 disposals, 11 contested possessions, 10 marks, 15 intercept possessions. And Stephen May, who had 23 disposals but went at 95% kicking efficiency, including 12 marks. They're two reliable pillars to set yourself up down.
I think it's nice if you know that your key defenders won, and then your other defenders are going to win most one-on-ones.
Yep.
Like, it gives you confidence as a midfielder that okay, I've got to get back and course to help, but I can start to peel off when even if I think it's sort of a 50-50 or 60-40 our way, I'll just start peeling off.
Yeah.
So
they're probably the best 1-2 punch key defenders in the game, aren't they? Who are on the same team together. Like you'd love to be a backman, a small back who at very worst it's going to get halved, and most of the time they're going to mark it. So you're right, Ramo. Like not that you can peel off too quickly when you're defending, but you have fair opportunity to get the ball, and they use the ball really well too. They play within their limitations. They're just smart operators who work so well in together.
Well, there was a bit of chatter about Melbourne, their issues inside attacking 50, and some people suggesting, look, they could do with still having Jesse Hogan down there. But the pick six that they got don't roll your eyes at Ramo.
It's a long time ago.
I'm just saying the chatter from the Melbourne fans online, but the point was made that pick six eventually turned into Stephen May, and they don't win the flag in 2021 without Stephen May. So, it all balances out.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
You're taking... But that's Simon Goodwin, how he builds his team. He's building his team from the back line to the forward line. So clearly, let's stiffen up the back line. Let's our midfield, like Jack Viney is as brilliant as he is. He's got his name probably more being as a defensive midfielder. He's those defensive actions. So and then your winger in Ed Langdon just runs from goalpost to goalpost continually as the game continues on. So look, they're a well-drilled team. There's no doubt about that, the D's, and their challenge comes in. Well, we think it's going to come again in September.
So the Demons 43-point winners over Richmond in the Anzac Eve clash. Mitch Turner is once more helping us on the stats. Richmond's lowest score against Melbourne since round 1, 1965. 6-5-41 that night. Kevin Butler tabooed 2 weeks later. So there's a couple of contributing factors. Jacob Hopper was one of their best. Unfortunately, he was subbed out of the match in the third quarter with a hamstring injury, and we know how important the likes of Tom Lynch and some of the other players that are missing from Richmond's best 22. What was your assessment on the Tigers tonight?
I think their first half was good. Like they worked hard. They were dour, but they tackled well in that first half. They tried to move the ball through a lot of handball receive and catch Melbourne's defence out of balance.
It felt like that was a really concerted effort from Uze, didn't it? To keep the ball moving. Don't let Man Lever, those key pillars we've spoken about, set.
Yeah, but you got to. This is the thing. Like if you have young players in your team, it's okay to do it for 2 quarters, but can you do it for 4 quarters?
Yeah.
And I think just as the game wore on, so they let Melbourne kick 4 in a row to start the third quarter, and that was 4 goals in 10 minutes, and then 5 goals in 15 minutes to finish the game. So it's a big run of goals there.
So a few concerns. Hopper's hamstring looked like quite a serious hamstring injury.
Weeks. It'll be minimum 4 weeks.
Yeah. Coming back from the knee injury, Taranto obviously not there at the moment. Where are they at? Because I worry that Adam Uze's got a little bit of a graveyard shift.
Yeah, it's a tough ask. I mean, look, you take your best 3 midfielders out of any team, and you're going to struggle. Let alone your best key target in Tom Lynch. So it's certainly a changing of the guard.
Yeah, and you got your swing player in Noel Bolter also. That's
playing.
Available as well.
So their injury list is Tim Taranto wrist, Tom Lynch hamstring, Jack Ross with a foot, Noel Bolter with a knee, Josh Gibcus with an ACL, Dion Prestia with a hamstring, Jaden Short with a calf, and now Jacob Hopper.
Yeah, so it's the worst injury list in the game at the moment.
Yeah, well, you look at 6 of those players, and they're absolute first choice players.
Yep.
Gibcus we thought was he was looking like a good key defender. He's going to have 2 years wiped out now with injury. So it's just tough. That's what I think Richmond fans and people that analyse it, and they've got to look at that with Richmond. They just can't say, they're no good.
You don't want fingernail deep analysis.
No. Well, you tell me what's fair at the moment.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying you've got to factor that.
You've actually
in.
got to look deep inside. That's the call. Because we haven't even mentioned Jaden Short until that point. He's a best and fairest winner in a premiership year, I think, isn't he? So you're missing some pretty handy players. Probably your top, 7 players you choose outside of probably Dustin Martin and probably Nat Curvis.
But then I think what you got to ask the question is Thompson Dow going to be a player? I thought he was really good tonight.
Yep.
Can Hugo Ralph Smith? We've seen him in and out of the team now for a number of weeks, for a number of years. Can he become a player? Tom Brown looks like he's a player. Morris Rioli Jr. I thought that was probably one of his best games that he's played for Richmond.
They found another one in McKelty Lafau, didn't they?
Well, Lafau's another one. Like Sam Banks, they're going with again. Miller and Tyler Young, can they be key defenders? Well, you've got basically the next 16 odd weeks now to find that out.
What did you see from Lafau that you particularly liked?
One, his work rate. I think you mentioned it in the call, Benny. He had covered the most distance out on the ground, but I also think he's smart. It's like sometimes when he's jumping at the ball and then he'd give a quick little handball or play on, or he looks natural.
So some of his evasive work was really, really impressive. I think with some of these players who either they're new to the game or they're young tools coming in, you're like, they look like they're fish out of water. He didn't look like that at all tonight. He did some things where you're like, this bloke could be a pretty handy player.
Yeah. So he came over from New Zealand to join the Melbourne Storm's academy, or their development pathway. Did I hear you, Clinchy? I'm fairly sure I did when I was driving back from Ballarat, say that he kicked 20-odd goals in a game for St Kilda City in the local competition or something of the like. And
that led to him being picked up by Richmond in the VFL. He played there where he was sort of able to impress, even though he suffered an ACL. And they always knew they had sort of a talent who could be potentially be anything. Yeah. But at 25 years of age and 192 centimetres, he might end up surpassing Jacob Kazitsky in the way in which he presents at the footy.
Well, they used him as the sort of second ruck at different times. He rucked a little bit inside, attacking 50.
Was Kazitsky injured today?
No, he played in the VFL.
He was an emergency.
See,
I got down to Punt Road, took it all in this afternoon.
Yeah.
What's the report?
So Shane McAdam kicked 3, taken out of the game at three-quarter time. Colton Tolstrup, pretty good, taken out of the game at three-quarter time. Ben Brown goalless, unfortunately. So not good for Ben Brown. Kazitsky didn't get a lot of it. Samson Ryan running around for Richmond. So, that's probably the headlines of it all. Marlon Pickett's little clip on Clayton Oliver. Is he in any strife for it?
Well, is it an open hand?
I think it's open hand.
Because Jesse Hogan's result, he's done an open hand and got a week, but then got off it to the head.
And then you can even go back to the Pendlebury Lockie Neal one.
Yeah, it's very similar to that.
Very similar to that.
So, players, did they get fined off that? I don't think Hogan even got fined, did he?
Well, no, because I think when you go to the tribunal, you escape the fine.
Right.
So, which is ridiculous.
I think if you look at previous results and what's occurred, if it's an open hand to the guts, it's probably just going to be a fine, is it?
I think so. The interesting part around it all is the AFL told us at the start of the year that any strike, open palm, closed fist, off the ball, you were going to have a week on the sideline.
Okay, well, he'll get a week and then he'll challenge it and get off from appeal.
Yeah, but the point is they've even moved away from that since. So then they've sort of played semantics with the Lockie Neal when he got whacked by Pendlebury and said, it was around, it was in play because it was at the contest, which, was off the ball.
What are you saying, that Scott Pendlebury's a protected species, Ben?
I wouldn't go that far. I just think they've been inconsistent.
Yeah. Well, do you want to see blokes get weeks for that? I don't know.
Not really, no.
It'll be interesting to see, though. They want to make a statement and kind of crack that down, though, so I'm sure Marlon Pickett will get a little message from the match review officer. You would think a fine, but I guess Jesse Hogan would lay claim that he was able to make a pretty good argument at the tribunal. Melbourne winners by 43 points, 13-7-85 to the Tigers, 5-12-72 in front of 72,840 fans.
Just on that, was that our man Fingers Marchbank who he clipped, or was it someone else? Jesse Hogan.
No, it was Lewis Young.
Lewis Young. Yeah, he said Lewis Young turned to him and said, you'll get a week for that. And he didn't even realise he'd hit him in the chops until after that.
Yeah, right. Oh, Jesse Hogan had no idea he hit him in the chops?
Well, that's so he claims anyway, yeah.
Okay.
Clayton Oliver's doing some media work for the TV, so his hand must be feeling okay after his surgery after the Brisbane Lions loss a couple of weeks ago. And hopefully for Melbourne fans that he's closer to returning to his best with 22 disposals tonight and 4 clearances. We're going to bring you a shortened version of the ABC AFL Daily podcast with Catherine Murphy and AFL Premiership coach Paul Roos. So we need the votes for the ABC Footballer of the Year, but we might just get the first couple of responses from Adam Uze, the Richmond coach, as he fronts the presser.
And it was a pretty competitive first half. I mean, all the skill areas aside, but you were really in the game, but it just sort of got away from you after half time, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. And to be fair, we knew that coming in, that we'd have to obviously perform and compete really hard for 4 quarters. And I just thought, to our boys' credit, I thought our effort and intensity was strong throughout the game. It was just our execution. Just spoke to the players about it now, and they're pretty honest with the way they look at their game. And they're polished in front of goals, and their skill execution was just better than ours, and they got reward for effort and we didn't. So that's the game.
Is it sort of hard, I guess, to maintain that pressure for a long period? I mean, you've obviously come in with quite a few players out as well. How hard is it to sort of maintain it over a long period of time?
Yeah, it is hard, and it is a brutal game, but we expect our players to do that and show up every quarter. And as I said, to their credit, I felt like the pressure and the intensity didn't drop off. It was just our execution. When that happens, like, you're putting in all that effort, you miss opportunities with skill execution and a bit of polish around goals and our inside 50 entries. And then they go down, score a couple full ground transition goals, and it can just dent your spirit a little bit. But to their credit, as I said, I thought our effort and intensity didn't drop off, which is something I'm really proud of.
Jacob Hopper, can you just talk us through what's happened there? It appeared like he hurt himself and stayed out there, and then it clearly, I don't know if he made it worse.